This is the best possible start for new players in Albion Online. This will teach you how to get early freebies when you register. This will also teach you the best settings, the best client to use, which is not Steam. We're going to go over how to skip weeks of early grinding by farming Tutorial Island, what to level early so that you can set your character up to do all content, how to secure silver and never go broke, how to level quickly and efficiently with no losses in your time or in silver, how to earn passive silver so you can play the game on easy mode, and how to do all of this without ever card swiping, paying real money as a free-to-play player, while you're also guildless and as a solo player without any friends. First off, let's cover the client and how to get freebies so you can get some bonus experience, and all you have to do is in any of my Albion Online videos, you'll have to click a referral link. Now, this is going to give you free experience in the in-game's mail system for doing this. If you're a brand new player, do not skip this. It's very important. You'll get more stuff than if you don't. So, in all of my videos, there's a description. Click the description to expand it. Scroll past the timestamps, and you're going to see down here, if you want to play Albion Online, click here. Click this link, and it's going to open the page to albiononline.com. From here, register with your email password, do all of this stuff, and then you're good to go. Once you complete the tutorial, you'll get an in-game mail with some bonus experience books. Now, before you begin also, you should do this with the native client. That means you go to albiononline.com, you download the client from the website. Do not play this on Steam. The reason why is that sometimes patches mess up and you won't be able to play while everyone else is playing. Also, Steam charges more for the in-game cash shop. If you do decide to pay real money into this game, it is cheaper on the native client than it is on Steam, so always use the native client. Before you begin, when you download the client, it's going to look something like this. The boxes might be different, the graphics might be different, but you're going to click the settings button and copy what I have. I'm going to explain why. So you're going to have clean temporary folder on close so that it doesn't gunk up and increase load times. When you're doing full loot PvP activities, which we won't cover much of in this video, but if you do, having a faster load time is king when it comes to running from other players. Next up, we're going to go to graphic settings, and you definitely can copy everything here. I recommend skipping the intro video because it just saves you time. Now, if you don't have a good computer, then obviously don't put everything on high and ultra. But the reason why we do this is so it makes it easier to find hidden treasures, it makes it easier to see spell effects, it makes it easier to see what your opponent is using, what their enchantment level is, and identify threats. So, just copy everything that I have here if you want. These are the most optimal settings. Now, a few other things too. Window animations, you want this off because if you have this on, it will take you longer to loot things. Sometimes when players die or there's a big chest everyone is piling on to grab everything, if you have window animations on, that is several milliseconds of time you have to wait to watch an animation play before you can start looting. You definitely want this off. Next up, highlight obscured. If a player or a monster or a creature is hidden behind like a wall or something, you can't see them. But when you have highlight obscured on, you can see them through the walls. Camera shake, definitely turn this off. When you're in a big, massive Zerg versus Zerg fight with other players, the camera will constantly be shaking from explosions and spells. So definitely turn this off. And finally, bloom on. Now, I know in most games you would turn this off, but on Albion Online, having bloom set to on lets you find hidden treasures, which are just little piles of treasure just hidden randomly in the world. These things will be glowing very brightly with all of these settings. If you turn bloom off, it won't glow, and it's very hard to spot, especially if you are a new player. Before you begin the game, at the top right corner is a server selection menu. Now, I'm going to tell you right now that the main server is going to be Europe. Everyone is going to be playing on Europe. The Americas, or the Western server as it used to be known, is dying. The Asian server is basically dead. Now, of course, if you live in Singapore, you would probably want to play on Asia because it has the lowest ping. Otherwise, you can just pick the lowest ping server. But most of the players, almost all of the content creators, almost all of the best experience you can possibly have in the game will be played on the European server. So I recommend, even if you are in the United States or Canada, that you play on the European server, as you will be more around people that speak English. You will have more content to do. With a better economy, the European server will be the least botted and lowest cheater numbers server. Asia being the most bots and the most cheaters. The American servers also being filled with cheaters. Statistically speaking, across MMORPGs, all European servers, no matter what MMO you pick, will always have the least amount of bots. Europe is the newest, and the most fun server, so play on Europe if you are a new player. Let's talk about character creation. You're ready to log in. So we log into the game, and you can choose male or female. There is no other options. Now here's the thing with male and female choices. It costs real money to change your gender later, so make sure that you lock in a choice that you want. But as far as your appearance goes, the clothes you wear, your face, your skin color, and all of that stuff, you can always change that later for free, so don't worry about it right now if you want. Just grab a default character if you want and jump in if you're in a rush. Now, there is no statistical or hitbox advantage for playing male or female. Obviously, if you want to, like, beg for gold and have a female cutesy name, or beg for silver, I'm sorry, then more people will be willing to give it to you on a female avatar, but that's kind of scummy. We're not going to be talking about that in the video, but anyway, I'm just going to play the default character here. And now, when choosing your name, it's very important that you don't do something negative and you don't do something controversial or bad, because there are no name changes, and if the game masters or anybody gets upset at your name, no matter how offensive it might be, your name will be permanently changed to Googly Moogly and then like 4 numbers, okay? And you cannot change that ever. And anytime you deal with anybody in the game through the in-game chat, when you are labeled as a Googly Moogly, some people just won't trade with you, some people won't play with you, they won't party with you, they won't invite you to their guilds, so make sure that you pick a family-friendly name. Before you begin your adventure, before you click Enter World, make sure that this Play Tutorial button is highlighted in a bright yellow check mark. The reason why you want to play the tutorial is because there is a resource you can farm here more efficiently than anywhere else in the game, and as a free-to-play, brand new player, this resource will make you lots of starting silver. But if you're going to card swipe, you technically could skip the tutorial and just pay your way into the game. But for everyone else, you get 3 days free premium by doing the tutorial, which is very important for the progression of your character. It is a 50% bonus to XP and silver gains and gathering and just everything that you do. So absolutely make sure that this is highlighted yellow and then click Enter World. And then I have streamer mode set up, so that's why that popped up. Once you are in the game, you're going to click the cogwheel in the top right corner, and we're going to go to game settings, and there is more game settings that you need to configure. Now, we already did general and graphics in the launcher, but for audio, you can alter this however you want. Having the game at full blast can be very deafening, I believe. But now, interface, this is important. All right, so HUD size, you don't want it too big. And position on spell bar, this is your preference. Speech bubbles, this is just whenever someone says something, it'll show up on the screen. If you're a streamer, you kind of have to turn this off because people will say naughty things. But other than that, just copy my my settings here. Now for combat, you definitely want to see what enemies are hitting for and healing for, so this is important to have off. So don't just have only player numbers showing. Spell indicator intensity, you want this 100% so you can see spell indicators. This is the red circles on the ground showing you where there is danger. Name tags, now I would recommend having all of this on. The more info the better, and then later as you play you can turn some of this off to declutter the screen if you want. Also, big name tags are very important, and show off screen name tags. Always have this on because later when you do full loot content, if you don't have off-screen name tags on, people can sneak up on you and kill you very efficiently. You definitely want these settings. Party interface, just have it however you want. Now, I have small view enabled. Most people don't use small view. I just do it because I don't really play like a healer role or anything. And other than that, just you want your tooltips to be shown, especially so that you can't be pushed or dragged with a movement ability into a red or a black zone without your consent. If you have the tooltips off, then you can be pushed into one of those zones, and like say you AFK in a safe zone and someone PvPs up and knocks you into an unsafe zone, then they kill you and then you get back to your computer and you're just dead. So that's not fun. For controls, you definitely want to, if you're brand new to these kinds of games in general, you want to have normal spellcast, but after some experience, it is vital that you switch to quick cast on button press, because what this does is you don't have to like see your indicators and your aim like hitboxes and stuff. You can just push the button, immediately cast the spell on press, not on release. Don't do on release, and you will be able to be that much more efficient in gameplay. So also, double press to attack. A lot of people will recommend that you turn this on so that you can click a player without auto-attacking him and then inspect his gear first. But you should never really be inspecting people when you're dismounted in the first place. You should always be doing that when mounted, and if you're mounted, you won't be attacking. So my recommendation is to turn this off. Also, forced combat mode, I turn this off so that you can loot objects. It's very important sometimes that you be able to loot things in combat so you can run away with the loot. And then auto-target aggressor is just nice to have when you're fighting multiple PvE monsters at once. When you have a giant mound on the top of you and a bunch of crap on your screen cluttering it up. Having auto-target aggressor on allows you to just hit your spell abilities upon being attacked. It's just a nice quality of life. A few other settings you might want to rebind. Use tracking toolkit from U because it is very close to the Y button, which is your inspect. And if you have a toolkit and you hit U, it will dismount you, causing you to be rooted in place, and you might get killed for it. But I don't really do tracking much, so that's why I just leave it at default. I also don't fat finger my keyboard. A few other settings that you might want to change is the auto run button, which is not there is no default button for auto run. I have it as back quote. This is the button above my tab key or to the left of my number 1. So this is tilde, or I forget what else people call it, but using this is so much, it's such a good quality of life thing. You really want to bind something to auto run. And the way auto run works is wherever you point your cursor and you push your auto run button, your character will run in that direction. Finally, for people that play in parties or in raids, you definitely want to keep on use markers 1 through 6 and unmarked target, because if you have, like, say, a target, a player you want to kill and you're with your friends, you can quickly put a symbol over the top of their head, and that way your friends can track them in a crowd. Next up, in the social tab, and this may not be that important for the very first few days of Europe, but for everyone else, or once this video is more than a week old, one thing that you want to turn off in your social tab on your general tab is down here is the looking for group. You want to have this turned off, and the reason why is it is constantly spammed with hardcore expedition stuff. You're not going to be doing it. It will completely flood your chat entirely if you have either of these two on, so make sure that you turn them off. It looks like they might be turned off by default now, which is really nice because back in the day it was not turned off by default, and boy oh boy, you would get spammed. Now, finally, before we begin the tutorial, I'm not going to teach you how to do the tutorial. The tutorial will teach you how to do the tutorial, but what I want you to do is do not finish the tutorial. Continue watching my video as you do the tutorial, or if you have good memory, just go ahead and watch me first, and then you'll know what exactly to do. But it is very important that you don't leave Tutorial Island, and I'm going to be giving you a few tips that you can do along the way to just make your experience better. At the part where the game wants you to skin foxes and chop trees, you're going to skin a few extra foxes than the game tells you to, because we're going to be making a bag, which the tutorial does not instruct you on, and we definitely want a bag. It helps us carry more loot. Next up, you're going to be harvesting a little bit extra cotton, at least 2 bushels worth, full bushels, and again, this is how we make a bag. Now I'm going to teach you how to craft a bag, which the tutorial does not do for some weird reason, but right here at, this is where I'm at on the map. I am right here at the makeshift tool maker. You click on this person, and on the left side is all the tools you can craft, but there's a little tab here that looks like a bag, where my mouse cursor is circling. Click that tab, and now you can you can craft a bag and a cape. We'll be given a cape as a quest reward, but we're going to click the novice's bag, and then we're going to just craft a few of these. There we go, and I didn't harvest enough, but you can craft a few bags and hope for a higher quality bag, but otherwise this dramatically increases how much carry weight you have, allowing you to haul more stuff out of Tutorial Island for more money. Now, while in Tutorial Island, it's important that you learn how to do optimal PvE pulls, okay? So, here's how this works. Your mount has a health bar. It is the bottom yellow health bar right here. Whenever you are attacked while mounted, it will drain that health bar. So what you can do is use your mount as a meat shield to condense and pull all the mobs, and you want to pull multiple mobs at once while not standing in the red fiery death zones, and kill as many mobs as possible. And what I want you to do is practice doing this. Also, if your mount dies, it simply just goes on cooldown. You don't lose it forever or anything. So at the bottom left, I have a 30-second cooldown until I can summon my mount again. And yes, this is a pretty beefy pull, and sometimes you won't be able to do all the big beefy pulls, but that's okay. As you can see here, I managed to squeeze out a victory. Barely, but I can just use my armor to restore. My armor's ability is the R button down here, and at some point you will get food as a reward, which I have right here. You can also eat this to passively regenerate health, but I would recommend saving your food so we can use it later on more important adventures. Now, also, continue to grind out here until you have around 300-ish silver. You shouldn't need more than that. By the way, another way to play is, it's called orb walking, and this is a MOBA, or a Defense of the Ancients Dota term. When you have an enemy selected and you push the spacebar, your character will walk towards it and auto-attack it. So you can use your right click to run away while spamming your spacebar, allowing you to move and attack every time your auto-attack is off cooldown. These are important things to learn for later on. Finally, if you want to squeeze out more DPS, or damage per second, you want to auto-attack and then immediately use an ability, which will cancel the auto-attack's animation into your ability's animation. Whereas if you were to animation into an auto-attack, you have to wait for the animation's cooldown before your character auto-attacks. So just these few things will dramatically increase your damage. Also, you'll notice other players around attacking mobs that you are. So in order to get credit for the kill, you need to be the first player that deals 35% of the target's maximum health. And the first player that does that is the one that gets the credit for the kill and the loot for the next 2 minutes. Now, if a mob drops loot and no one loots it, after 2 minutes, anyone is free to pick it up. So I want to talk about crafting real quick, because the tutorial either wants you to buy or craft the next set of armor from tier 1 to tier 2. We'll talk about what tiers are a little bit later. It's not important right now. But the truth about crafting in Albion Online is that it is the biggest money sink you can possibly do, and you will not turn a profit unless you have absolutely everything set up and put in place, which this video will not even entirely cover. But essentially, you're going to need a black zone hideout with a whole lot of other things, boosting your percentage of your crafting so that you can barely even break even on the things that you craft. Crafting is controlled by cartels and entire guilds in order to profit, and it is not something that a solo player should really get into. There are a few things later that I will tell you that you can craft that does not rely on having a hideout, or rely on having daily bonuses and stuff. We'll talk about that later in the video. But for now, my recommendation is when you're at this part of the quest line, just go to the market and use that 300 silver you got to buy tier 2 items. Now, before you buy your armor, I'm going to be telling you what to buy to set your character up, but I just want to tell you how chest armor works. The armor that you wear is hugely, massively factors into how much damage you're dealing. Not so much your helmet and boots. We'll talk about that in a bit. But your chest armor is primarily how much damage you deal with your weapons. So when you are wearing cloth armor, you deal way more damage, but you also take more damage, as in you have less defense. Leather is a balance of both, and the leather armors are basically what allows you to sustain in PvP. It lets you farm PvE mobs thanks to certain abilities. We'll talk about that later. And plate is all in on defense and zero offense. You don't get a damage boost at all for wearing plate, but it does make you, it gives you more health, it makes you tankier. It is not something you want to wear as a solo or a guildless player. It is not something I'm going to be advising you to wear ever unless you are tanking group dungeons or doing group Zerg versus Zerg content. That's where a bunch of players are fighting another huge bunch of players. So for now, in this tutorial, I'll tell you what to wear. Here are the items that you're going to buy and equip. You're going to go to the market here, and then you're going to buy the following. The Scholar Cowl, and I'm going to move the text over here just a bit so it's a little bit easier for you to see. So this is the Scholar Cowl. We're going to buy that for 32 silver. There we go. And then next up is Soldier Boots. We're going to buy that for 32 silver. We're going to buy a Mercenary Jacket. That is your chest armor. This is a leather chest armor. And then we're going to buy a Fire Staff. I know you may not want to play a wizard, but trust me, this will unlock other weapons and abilities for you later on. We're just using it for now. There's plenty more that we're going to unlock later. Don't worry about it. But again, this is the most efficient and best way to start. It's going to speed you up so that you can use any weapon that you desire later on much more faster and efficiently. And finally, the Tome of Spells. Now, we're going to go ahead and equip everything, so I'm going to move this over here, and then I'm going to open my inventory and just right-click everything there, so I'm putting it on, and that's going to complete the quest. In Albion Online, you level up what you wear. That is entirely how your character works. You do not have just a base level that you have. You are not, oh, I'm level 60. It's more like, I'm level 100 in leather armor. I'm level 100 in Fire Staff. So what that means is that right now, by wearing this equipment, we're leveling cloth, leather, and plate to unlock that for later, but it starts to split off, okay? We're not just leveling cloth, leather, and plate. We're unlocking the basics of cloth, leather, and plate so that we can wear all cloth helmets, armor, and boots, all leather armor, helmets, and boots, and all plate armor, boots. You get the idea. And because we're using the Fire Staff at the moment, it's going to unlock the Mage Tree, which has offhand items. This means that if you have a one-handed weapon, right now our Fire Staff is a one-handed weapon. This Book of Spells, Tome of Spells, is a offhand item. And we're going to unlock the most powerful of offhand items by wearing this. There is a hidden chest in Tutorial Island, and it's in the Mountain Fort Zone, and it's right here on this little corner. So if you ride up here, there is a chest guarded by 2 heretics. You just simply destroy the chest with an attack, and of course kill the heretics, and then the chest contains some silver. It is 236 silver, whereas the mobs are only dropping 7 to 9, so hey, we got 420 silver. But yeah, feel free to farm this chest while you're out here grinding and doing quests. Once you get to this part of the quest that says, call the ship by lighting a signal fire, do not proceed further. You see this right here where my arrow is touching this little quest icon here? Do not proceed further. Do not go on your map here, up here to this circle, and do not step into this circle. Do not, do not, do not, do not. The reason why is it locks you out of your Destiny board's stat page for whatever reason. I don't know why. But also, this doorway will open up, and once you cross this doorway, you can never ever return. You cannot farm Tutorial Island anymore. You cannot grind here. It is over. It kicks you out into the main game, so don't do it. Instead, what I want you to do is gather a very highly, really wealthy and good resource. I'll talk about it. So before we leave Tutorial Island, there's a few things you can do to make a lot of silver, especially on the new servers or even established servers, and that is harvesting rough stone. You can simply, this big circle of rough stone in the tutorial area, it respawns insanely fast. It will not respawn this quick in the main game. Once you leave Tutorial Island, rough stone takes a little bit of time to respawn. It will not instantly pop back up or repopulate like it does right here in this circle. So there is bar none nowhere else in the entire game to farm rough stone better than this place. So you want to carry as much of this with you to the main server, to the real game, as you can, because this will dramatically, massively increase your wealth and your progression. If you skip this step, you could possibly put yourself a whole week behind if you don't know what you're doing. It's insane how much just sitting here and harvesting rough stone for a while will do for your character. It is insane. You should never, ever, ever, ever skip this. This is very important to do. Now, before you sit here for the next hour and harvest rough stone, you need to do some inventory management, and we're going to throw away everything except our rough stone and skinning knife. And the reason why is we want as much carry weight as possible, and this stuff is not worth very much. You don't need your tier 1 gear. It's completely worthless. You do not need this one bit. Feel free to throw every single thing out except for, again, your skinning knife and your rough stone. Now, and again, some people will say that this is not necessary and that you should just grab a bunch of mules, because you can buy multiple mules, and the only place in the game to get mules is Tutorial Island, but there are players and there are bots. They will just grab mules, a whole bunch of mules, and that's just what they'll do. So, unfortunately, also someone's whispering me in what looks like Russian. I can't understand what they're saying. The mules are, like, for instance, okay, the estimated market value of one mule currently on the Western server is 3,294, but I can only carry about 4 to 5 of these, and then I'm done. Whereas the estimated market value of just a single rough stone is 104, and I can carry over 1,000 of these. So if you want to do some basic math here, you take 1,000, multiply it by 104. Well, that's 104,000, okay? So if we divide that by 3,500, which is the estimated cost of the mule, you would need to carry 29 equivalent mules, which you simply can't do. There's mules way, way too much. So rough stone is the de facto, bar none, best possible resource in the entire game that you can harvest as a brand new player, giving you the most silver per hour earnings than anything else you can possibly do. The only downside to doing what we're doing here is you don't level up, you don't fame up your character, you don't gain any kind of experience points. So, unfortunately, you know, but this will allow you to skip a lot of the early game and go straight into the mid game by doing this step. Do not sleep on this. Now, I will also point out that depending on server economy, server time, and how many players are actively doing this, the price will go up and down. But I will tell you that even if it's down, it's still going to be more than any other resource you can get as a new player and on Tutorial Island. This is, again, like I said, like I'm stressing, the most valuable resource you can carry out of Tutorial Island, and it is insanely high demand by in-game players because they don't want to ride around the open world and farm 1 to 2 of these at a time. They're very sparse in the open world, and even if you map it out in the open world, it's still not worth doing. It's actually more time efficient to just make a new character, harvest it here, and then transfer it to your main character. It's so ridiculous how rough stone, like, it's required for every possible building and building upgrade for everything in the game. It is not really used for crafting gear, but it's used for crafting, like, things that guilds use. Buildings and upgrade stations and refining stations and stuff like that. This is a resource that everyone uses. So I want to take a moment and explain to you the Destiny board, alright? So when you push the B button, this is the Destiny board, and you may be thinking, oh my god, this thing is so complex and crazy. There's a million things on here. I'm overwhelmed. What am I looking at? What's going on? Don't worry, it's not like Path of Exile. This thing is insanely simple to use and very easy to understand. I'm going to break it down for you by showing you the major nodes and then the smaller ones. Once you're done watching this little segment, you will fully understand it, I guarantee it. So, when you open the Destiny board, it will be on the very center here at the Adventurer Novice. And then if you go straight up, you're going to go into Journeyman Adventurer. As you earn fame by gathering, crafting, and killing mobs, you will increase this value. And as you level this up, it will unlock and allow you to use more equipment. So, as soon as we level up to Journeyman, we can start riding a tier 3 horse. We can ride the oxes and upgrade our bags and cape. And then at level 4, we have the tier 4, you know, horses, oxes. Now we have stags, different types of bags, and different specialized magical capes, and so on and so forth. You're going to have this entire line maxed out by your first day, or if you're very casual and can't play that much, by your third day. And on your third day, you can wear... the game will allow you to wear all the in-game things like mammoths and nightmare horses and, you know, all sorts of fun mounts and stuff like that. So it's not something to worry about. It's simply the only reason this exists in the game is so that a brand new player cannot simply make a new character and then ride around on a gray wolf and chase people down. That's all. That's the whole point of that, right? And so, with that said, there's another line that you're not going to have to worry too much about, and that is to the left. When you scroll to the left of the Destiny board here, you have what's called the Trainee Fighter, and then from there, you have Reaver. Reaver is the game's system that kind of prevents a new player from going to the very end-game zones and just killing mobs, right? Because the majority of mobs do these big attacks where the ground lights up red and you have to dodge it. And so, technically, you can punch above your weight, essentially. So, what this means is that when you have Journeyman Reaver unlocked, you can kill creatures that are tier 3 or high. Like, the damage against tier 3 or higher creatures increases by 15%, and you get more defense. And then tier 4 and tier 5, this means that when you go to a tier 4 or tier 5 zone, that they won't be hitting you so hard anymore, and you will be hitting them much harder, allowing you to farm those higher level zones. You're going to have this also maxed out by the end of your first day, or if you're casual, by the end of your third day. So again, this is nothing to worry about, this is nothing to focus on. But the rest of the Destiny board, it's pretty cut and dry what it is. Let me show you. So this is MS Paint. I know it's not very high quality, but essentially, the entire right side of the Destiny board, that is, again, this is not the current Destiny board, but the entire right side of the Destiny board, all of this stuff right in here, this is all crafting stuff, okay? And so let me show you in game what this means. So when I scroll to the right, you have Trainee Craftsman, and then here we can have the Hunter's Lodge Crafter, which is your bows and leather armors and stuff. And then it specializes even further, like this is spear crafting, and what do we have here? Dagger crafting, bow crafting. And then that splinters even more into specific bows, like you have the bow, the war bow, the long bow, the whispering bow, etc. And that's all this right side is. That's all it is. Next up, you have the refining section, which is if you go to the right to your Trainee Craftsman, and then you go down, you're going to have the, well, this is the tool maker crafting, but right here is the refiner. Now, refining, a lot of players are going to tell you that you should focus on refining, and I don't believe that. The reason why is that cartels run the player shops, and if you are not refining at a discount with the bonus that the shops provide, you are most likely losing money. You'll have to do the math on your own. I won't do it for you. The math is ever and always changing. So again, that's a separate topic for another video, but essentially down here in this little path is what allows you to refine tier 4 materials, tier 5 materials, and so on and so forth all the way to tier 8. And then, to the left of that, back to the center of Novice Adventurer, but on the rightmost fork down here, this blue line, this is your gathering. Now, this is what you want. We're going to talk about this at length later in the video, but this is what you want to focus on more than anything. You have something called learning points, which if you're doing the tutorial, you will know what a learning point is. We don't have any currently, but we will be getting some. This involves fishing and fiber harvesting, mining metals, skinning animals, chopping wood or lumberjack, and courier, which is mining stone. And then as you level this up, you'll be able to mine and wear higher tier equipment for gathering. And this video is specifically going to have you focus on the highest, best money making one, skinning. But also I'm going to talk about quarrying, which is going to be the biggest money maker for the fresh start on Europe. So if you're on Europe and you're fresh start, you're brand new, you want to go with courier. But for the long run, you're better off going animal skinning. And I'm going to talk about this at length later, but that's all that is for the Destiny board. Finally, this middle prong here, this is for farming. This is for people with premium, and you have to pay for premium. And you have the harvester here. This allows you to raise animals and plant crops, which then splits off to raising animals, planting crops, and planting herbs, which is something I'll talk about later in the video. But, you know, this just splinters off to all the different herbs and crops and plants. Like if you want to be a potato farmer, congrats. And then to the left of that, you have the sous chef node, which is potion crafting and food cooking. So chef is what I'm highly going to recommend. Again, towards the end of this video, we'll talk more at length about being a chef and why you want to be a chef and why it allows you to make more money safer, that is uncorruptible, the cartels can't control it. And then you have the potion crafting, which was unfortunately ruined by the last update, making it near impossible to max out. And if you can't max out the crafting, you craft at a loss. And to max out the new potions they introduced, it would cost multiple billions of investment, which you'll never make back. Finally, if we continue to the left from the middle here to this purple line, you have the tracking trainer, which this is brand new. And, well, not brand new, but you have a season tracker where you can track different things like quarries, the dawn birds, the golems. These are full loot, risky activities. You cannot do these in safe zones. I'm going to talk about them towards the end of the video as well, but right now it's not important to factor in. Everything to the left of the Destiny board is your combat specializations. So again, we have this MS Paint image. So everything to the left, okay, remember, besides the Reaver thing in the middle, everything to the left here, which this is an old image, is your combat specializations. This is your, here, let me just like highlight it red for you so you can see it a little bit better there. This is things like, here we go, we have Journeyman Hunter, which is your bows, your spears, your daggers, your nature staff, a healing weapon, and offhands like the torch. And then that splinters off into bows, into daggers, into spears. And then those would splinter off, for instance, for bows. Again, you have your bow combat specialist, your war bow specialist, long bow specialist, etc. You get the idea, right? So the way leveling up works in this game is also as follows. There are 8 tiers of items in the game. There are 4 levels of enchantment, and you can get up to level 120 in specialization and level 100 in mastery. So, again, with the Destiny board, let's just use bows as an example because everyone knows what a bow and arrow is, right? So, at Journeyman Hunter, we unlock the ability to wear tier 3, all of this equipment. And then if I put on a tier 3 bow and kill mobs and level up the tier 3 bow, this is going to unlock the ability to wear specialized bows at tier 4 and above. So this right here is Bow Fighter Mastery. It goes up to level 100. At level 1, we unlock the tier 4 specialized bows. We got bow, war bow, longbow, whispering bow. And all of these have the same Q and W abilities, but the E ability is what changes. So for the bow, you shoot extra damage arrows, but for the longbow, you shoot a circle of damage in a radius, And for the Whispering Bow, you shoot specialized magic arrows at a higher attack speed that makes you vulnerable to damage. There's a whole lot of different items to learn, and I'm going to explain them and tell you which ones that you should be wearing to optimize your character. And the cool thing about Albion Online is, if you're really good at one weapon, you can level up other weapons with that weapon. I know that doesn't make sense right now, but if I am a bow master, I can use my super-powered bow and level up daggers. More on this later in the video. But for now, at Mastery, as you level, you unlock new abilities for your bows or your weapons to use, new passive abilities, higher tier weapons, which I'm going to explain how that scales in power all the way up to tier 8. Now, on these weapons, you'll see little diamonds here in the bottom of the item window. These are your enchantment levels. They go up to 0.4. So, for instance, if you see someone say 4.1, that means a tier 4 weapon with 1 enchantment level. Tier 4.1. Alright? So, a 4.4 would be a tier 4 bow with a level 4 enchantment level. Now, finally, and I'll explain how all this scales your power and how much damage it deals and stuff later, but essentially, after you have level 100 Mastery, you then have Specialization. So, Specialization, the higher level this is, and right now it only says 100 up here, but it goes to level 120. What this does is, the higher your level of Specialization, the higher your item power is. So, let's talk about item power now. Now, this is a lot to absorb, and it's not that important right now, but I'm going to cover it anyway right now, while your mind is still fresh. So if we click on our Fire Staff, our Tier 2 Fire Staff, you'll see that our item power is 300, okay? 300, oh boy. So every time you go up a tier, you will gain 100 item power. Every time you go up an enchantment level, you will gain 100 item power. At level 100 Mastery, you will gain 20 item power, and then at 100 Specialization, you will gain 200 item power to that weapon, and then 10 to 20, depending on if it's a normal or an artifact weapon of Specialization, you will gain that amount of item power to all the other weapons in that weapon line. So, if you want to be a bow master, for instance, I'm going to hide the text here. If you want to be a bow master, it's not enough that you just use the bow. You need to also level up all of the other bows. So for instance, the bow here gives a 0.2 bonus per level to all bows. So does the war bow and the longbow. But when you get to the Whispering Bow, and this is an artifact item, meaning it takes extra special ingredients to craft, you only get a 0.1 bonus. And then also they're introducing crystal weapons, but that's for raids and guilds and stuff, which is even less item power towards all the weapons. But we're not going to really talk about that because it's just not relevant or important. Now, something else I want to talk about with tiering up that I didn't mention is that you have a mastery modifier. This means it takes your overall mastery of the weapon and adds a percentage increase to the item's power. So it is in your best interest to use the highest tier possible if you're doing safe zone content, of course. Whereas if you're doing full loot content, you have to weigh the risks and the rewards herein. So on this character, this is my Swole Benji character, we have the same Fire Staff, but this is a Tier 8.3 Fire Staff, and I have 1,802 item power. Now, looking at my Destiny board on this character here, we can go to the Fire Staff. Here's the Mage section. We're going to go up to the Fire Staff section now. And we have level 100 Pyromancer. And then if I go to the specializations, you can see that I have level 100 in Fire Staff, but only 51 in Great, 51 here, 108 in Wildfire Staff, and so on and so forth. Also, just a few other notes, too. Artifact and Avalonian weapons, which, again, I know this is confusing. Don't worry, it's not super important for a new player. Essentially, you have a normal weapon. This Arcane Staff is a normal weapon. Then you have artifact weapons. This Witchwork Staff, the Occult Staff, and the Malevolent Locust here. Those are artifact weapons. And then you have the Avalonian weapon, the Evensong. And finally, crystal weapons. This is the Astral Staff. Not all weapons have crystal weapons as of yet. They're still being developed. And as of recording this, they are not currently in the game. That's why I can't level it up. But they all have a little tiny bit of boost of item power to them. So, for instance, all of my Arcane Staffs are level 100, right? So the Arcane Staff, just tier 4 flat, gives me 1,020 item power. Whereas if I go to the Witchwork Staff, I now have 1,045. And then if I go up from there, 1,070, 1,095, and then 1,120. Now, on the Crystal Staff, which has no levels, the item power is lower because, well, I have no levels. So you can see from a normal weapon to an Avalonian weapon is a power differential of 100. And that's not all. There is also quality, okay? So you'll notice here that I have a silver border around. This is an outstanding quality, or excellent quality item. I'll talk about quality now. So here is the item power boosting from the quality of your gear. So at normal, it is +0, good is +20, outstanding is +40, excellent is +60, masterpiece is +100. So a normal quality item will not have a border. A good quality item will have a silver border. A outstanding quality item, which is going to have this golden border. A excellent quality border will have this bright silver border, and a masterpiece item will have this golden, shimmering, shiny border. And yes, this is an 8.4 masterpiece longbow. That is as strong as it possibly gets. There is awakening. We're not going to talk about that, but that's not something you can ever do until way later when you're wealthy. Okay, fine, we'll talk about it a little bit, okay? So an awakened weapon will have a rainbow shimmer on the weapon itself, on the graphic, and you can put special attributes on it. This awakened weapon has plus 4.3 to ability damage. You can get things like HP and item power, even more item power. You can get cooldown reduction. This is insanely expensive to do and is something only the most wealthiest and most powerful players can do, and we're not going to cover it in this video. This is for new players. Now, before you become overweight with stone, it's important to come step on this circle so that you don't get pushed back by these guys. Because once you have an abundance of rough stone in your inventory and you start getting overweight, your movement speed will be massively slowed, making the next step much harder. So I'm going to go ahead and step here, and the reason why I told you not to step here earlier is because it messes your UI up, your Destiny board tracking, and it just makes it much harder. Now, the game will want you to step into here, and which you can step into this circle if you want. But once you go through this gate, like right here, once you go through this gate, and down the stairs, if you try to leave, guess what? It's crumbled. It's gone. You can't never return ever, ever, ever again to Tutorial Island. So you want to make sure that you have as much rough stone as possible, and your mule here should be like limping on its last leg, barely inching forward. That's where you want to be. Now, because I'm an established player, I'm just going to use some YouTube editing tricks and give myself the stone, whereas as a new player, you won't have that luxury, and so if you skip this part, you will be broke and poor for the start of the game, and you don't want that. Next up, we're going to be choosing a starter zone, and it's important that you choose the right starter zone. So I'm going to hide the text for just a second and explain. Once you are at this point in the tutorial, you will talk to this character named Tia, and you have to accept the quest or it won't let you leave. So many people messed this up for whatever reason and thought their game was bugged. So accept the quest. Now there'll be a circle over here to the travel planner. You want to click the bottommost circle down here called Step Cross. Make sure that you have Step Cross selected. Now let's explain why using text on the screen here. Every zone has a main resource, a bonus to crafting certain items and equipment, and refining. So we're going to choose Step Cross because it is the cheapest gear for new players, that is the most efficient gear for fame farming or leveling up, as well as gathering. Next up, it is the cheapest stone prices in the game and always will be due to the bonuses of the zone. And so having cheaper housing means that you can spend your extra money, your extra silver, on growing your guild islands and your personal islands so that you can have things that make you more money and more silver for every activity you do. This will be covered towards the end of the video. Next up, you are next door to Martlock, which is the hide refining place. You want to be next to the hide refining place because hide is the best silver maker in the game, and sometimes if the cartels are nice or asleep at the wheel, you can definitely refine that hide and earn even more silver. Next up, it is the best resource in the game. Every zone has a main resource. So you'll notice that the map is very colorful. You have a snowy zone, a desert zone, a hill zone, and a foresty zone, etc., and a swampy zone. Well, hide is in the desert zone. All the hide animals are in the desert zone. So you definitely want to skin in these zones because unlike other zones, yes, there are animals you can skin in the swamps, but the animals that you skin in the desert have a chance to drop babies, which you can raise into mounts. And because they have a chance to drop babies, that gives you even more silver per hour when it does happen. Whereas the frogs and stuff in this zone, they never drop babies, okay? The snakes don't drop babies. but the the stags and the saber-tooths drop babies, and that's what you want to farm. So, with that also said, it is also the best faction mount in the game, which you have to be a faction of Bridgewatch to use its ability for ganking in safe yellow zones, for ganking heart transporters, which is an insanely good way to make money because a lot of heart transports are either new players or RMT players, real money traders, or bots. And farming them is zero risk to you, and you get so much for it. Every time I kill a heart transport, I make 200,000 to 300,000 silver, and I can kill like 10 of them in like half an hour, bro. It's insane how much silver I can make just ganking heart transports, and the best mount in the game requires you to be part of Bridgewatch to do so. So again, at this point, talk to the travel planner, make sure that you have step cross selected, and then buy journey. Now, if you mess this step up and you picked somewhere else on accident, well, that sucks. You'll have to run to the nearby town and sell that stone. That's what we're going to do first thing. Once you have zoned into step cross, the first thing you're going to do is, and you're going to be moving much slower than me. Again, I'm going to use YouTube magic to kind of save me some editing time here. You're going to run up to this chest here and deposit your stone. Now, when you have that stone deposited, this chest is only accessible by you. There's other players around the chest. They all get their own private instance of chest. This is not an open chest where you can loot other people's stuff or anything silly like that. Anything you put in here is safe. It's a bank. No one can touch it. So put your stone in here to free up that weight so you can move at a faster speed. Now, what's very important to do is you're going to see this guy here with a question mark over his head. Do not turn in any quests. Do not talk to these NPCs until in real life you have 3 days of free time. That means no job, no wife, no kids, no obligations, no family visits, no holidays, or whatever it is that might eat up your time. Because when you turn in this quest from this guy here, he's going to give you a quest to talk to this guy right over here. And when you turn in this quest, it starts your 3 days of free premium, which is the clock is ticking right now. The clock is ticking. And premium gives you a 50% bonus to just about everything that you do. The game will explain it to you. You can also pop open a menu here. It gives you more learning points per day, a fame bonus, that's an experience bonus, silver bonus. It's huge. And so you don't want to start this until you have free time. If you need to go to bed and you got at school in the morning or something, or you got a busy work week ahead of you, wait on this. Skip this part. Do not turn in any quests. Do not talk to these NPCs until you do. So this starter zone here, Step Cross, there is a bunch of quests you can do that will teach you a little bit more about refining and crafting, and this is called an expedition. This is a huge waste of time as well. The fame, experience, and silver that it will make you is it's worth completely skipping over. You do not need to do this, but as a new player, if you want to do it, it's not going to hurt you. You're just going to be losing time. That's it. So feel free to do these quests and learn this basic stuff. Later on, you can come down here, and eventually when you do the quests, you can earn 1 gold. And once a server is established, you can sell that 1 gold for like 5,000 silver or something. But essentially, it's a huge time waste. I'm going to be skipping it for this video, but feel free to do it if you want. With that said, our first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to the main city and sell our stones. So open up your chest here where you stored that stone, pull it out, and you're going to be leaving through the fractured ground exit right here at the top right. So you're going to proceed through this exit, and again, your mule should be like limping. It should be a very slow journey for you. And what you're going to do now is you're going to travel along the road all the way up here to Bridgewatch. Alright, so you've made it to Bridgewatch, and yes, this is the movement speed that your mule should have, possibly slower if you've loaded up more. Now, this is 1,000 stone. Feel free to farm way more than that, but again, anywhere from 700 to 1,000 stone is more than enough for a nice boost in your early economy. The very first thing that we're going to learn and do is we're going to sell this stone. So we're going to open our map, and there's a lot of stuff on here. I know this looks overwhelming, but it will get simple and pretty brainless. So everything in the southwestern part of this map are player-owned shops. If you're playing on Europe, especially during the new start, these might be empty, possibly not. Guilds are going to have this completely full of stuff. But essentially, all we care about is the top right little section up here for now. This is all we care about. We're not going to be meddling with any of this other crap. the first thing that we want to do is we want to go to the market, which is this kind of yellow hammer with blue streaks icon right here. We're going to the market. So we're going to walk our way north from this entrance here. And the shop will be kind of confusing if you've never played an MMORPG, but if you're seasoned in like World of Warcraft or New World or any other MMO with an auction house, this is pretty basic. We're going to walk through this doorway, and this is the Bridgewatch Market. Now, it's pretty crazy in here. There's a lot of players, 187 to be exact, and there's a giant pile of players just smashed into this little section over here. There is a vendor. You can barely see the tippy top of her head, but you'll notice that your mouse cursor icon changes. So just left-click on her, and this will open the shop. Now, at first, the market may be a little confusing, but I'm going to help you navigate it. So what you're going to do, very first thing, is make sure that everything is set to default. So click these little refresher arrows if you can, and this will default everything back to the regular search. Then on the right side, you have different tabs. You have a buy tab, a sell tab, a create by order tab. More on that later. But right now, you're going to click the sell tab, and then you're going to find your rough stone. So I'm going to find the rough stone right here and click sell. And then you want to click this little arrow on the right side to expand this. And there's a reason why. The way this works is there is no vendors. There's no NPC vendor that just buys things. Okay, there is, but it's not important. But for the most part, everything that drops in this game, just about everything, is sold to another player and not to an NPC vendor. This is a marketplace, and you are selling your stone to actual, real players. And so, you have what's called the sell order. And these are players that have listed their rough stone for sale. The cheapest being 78 silver per stone. And again, your prices may vary. So it's okay if it's like half as much, or it might be twice as much on Europe. We'll see. But essentially, this is how much players are selling their rough stone for. So if we scroll down, you can see, you know, it gets pretty wild. Like very large stacks are selling for 96, and those will sell, okay? And then on the right side is buy orders. This is how much another player is actively selling their stone for. They're willing to buy your stone off of you. So if I click sell, I will sell to 71, the highest offer on the market, up to 9,999 this guy is buying. So that means if I sell my stack of 999 rough stone at 71, I will earn in total 13,223 silver, which is a very nice amount of starting silver. But if we go to sell, this is only 194, by the way, not my stack of 999. So, again, we're going to make more, though. So we're going to go to sell order, because I think I can earn a little bit more. And we're going to lower the price by 1 silver, making us the best deal on the market. So I'm putting it at 77. A stack of 999 is going to earn me 73,846 silver. And this will remain until a player buys it. Okay? I don't have enough silver. Because here's the thing, right? This requires some silver to pay for the taxes and the setup fee, which, if you did not activate your premium yet, this will be an 8 or 9%. So what I have to do is I have to sell at least 5,000 of my stone into silver to be able to list this as a seller. So I'm going to go to sell, and I'm going to lower this down until I have about 5,000-ish silver. There we go. So we're going to sell 77 stone to this guy at 71. That's going to give us 5,668 silver. And I'm just going to combine my stack of 1 here with my other one to make it easier to sell. Go back to the sell tab, hit sell order, and now someone is selling at 72. That's a tricky boy, but he's only selling 22 of them. So I'm going to undercut the 78 guy because he's the big stack, and I'm going to sell at 77 for 923 of them, and this will be worth 68,228 silver once it sells. So I'm going to hit create. So now, when someone types in rough stone into the market here, you can see that right now, while we're not the best deal, we have the big stack, and we're undercutting the next biggest stack. Does that make sense? Because this is going to sell through really, really quickly. And like if we just sat here and refresh this over and over, it'll probably be sold relatively fast. And just so you understand, per day, look how much stone is being sold. 148,000. 164,000, 174,000. This is 1 city out of 5. Okay, and there's a 6th city that's a dangerous city, but essentially, people are buying lots and lots of rough stone. So your stone will sell, maybe not immediately, but it will eventually sell. And this number, like, you're not going to be notified. You don't have to pick up the money. It's just going to be instantly, like, it's just going to be put right into here, into your silver stack. And that's all we have to worry about for now. We'll come back later to the market. We're going to be doing a lot more market stuff, but we can't until that stone sells. But we can grind until then. For now, we're going to grind until our stone sells. As you can see, right now, our stone has not sold. And it's only been like a minute or two. But we're going to leave the market through the top left entrance here. And I just also want to point out that when you will be doing repairs on your equipment later on, especially if you get down and sold. We just literally sold. It says we sold it, but it hasn't updated here. Weird. Anyway, so this repair station is owned by the system. Never, ever, ever use a repair station that is not owned by system. The usage fee and everything should be at 0. The reward per 100 nutrition availability, etc. Everything should be set to 0. Never use a repair station down here. There are new players that will wander down here for some reason, and a player can make their own repair station and charge a crazy amount of silver to repair gear. And when you do that, you click the repair button and you're broke. And then you're bankrupt. So always use this repair station. It will never break. It is owned by the city itself. It is not owned by a player. Always use that repair station. But we need to grind. We need to grind and level up our gear and wear better gear while our stone is selling. So there's 2 places we're going to go. We're going to either go to Smooth Floor Cleft, a tier 4 blue zone, or over here to Long March Meadow, a tier 4 blue zone. So I'm just going to go ahead and go to Smooth Floor. It does not matter which zone you pick. The other choice is technically better, Long March Meadow. But for now, I'm just going to pick this one because there's a reason why I want to tell you. And on the map here, this is the whole map. There's not too much to look at. There's these little Bridge Watch faction zones. More on that later. We can't really use those at the moment. But avoid this area. This is called a static area, okay? The whole point of following my guide is to set you up so that you can solo these. These are meant for groups of players. This is an area where you're supposed to party up with like a tank, a healer, a bunch of DPS, and the enemies are very difficult in these little zones. But by the end of this guide and by your 3rd day, you will have the gear and the specialization and the mastery to solo these zones for the best possible fame in the game. But regardless, we're going to ride around the zone and we're just going to kill mobs. Now, granted, we're only in tier 2 gear. This is a tier 4 zone, and the enemies will be dangerous until we level up our gear and our Reaver level. But for now, there's also something else you should be doing. When you see these little Impalas, you need to kill them and skin them. These are a tier 2 enemy. You can see right here on the portrait, they are a level 2 tier 2 enemy. So your mission right now is to simply kill them and skin them, but you're also going to be attacking other mobs as well. Now, if we click on these little zombie undead creatures, these skeletons, they are a tier 4 mob. These will be dangerous to us, but we can power through it. They're not that bad. Use every ability that you have. Use all of your spells. Make sure that you're killing them. And I'm going to kill this little baby one here. It looks like the big archer might actually be a little bit too hard to kill, but we're going to get him down. Make sure you dodge his attacks. I didn't dodge his attack, and I'm about to die, but you can see that we still killed him. And there we go. So you'll notice here, learning point reached. Journeyman Cloth Armor Fighter. You're going to see this pop up a bunch for armor, for leather, and plate. Also pick up the silver. And yes, 375 silver. Pretty good, right? Remember, kill Impalas and skin Impalas and kill skeletons. But be careful about it until you get the Reaver level. They won't be as dangerous later on. But you see those learning points that just popped up and this trainer tracker thing that popped up? We're going to be using our starter learning points to advance to tier 3. So on your screen here, you should see these things like Plate Armor Fighter, Journeyman Mage, etc. So you're going to click this, and then you're going to click Learn. This is going to spend one of your learning points. So we're going to learn Journeyman Plate Armor Fighter. There we go. Then we're going to learn Journeyman Mage, and then we're going to learn Journeyman Leather Armor Fighter, and then we're going to learn Journeyman Cloth Armor Fighter, and there we go. Now, as far as Journeyman Animal Skinner, we got a lot of ways to go, and the way learning points work is you only need 20% of the way to spend learning points. This lets you skip 80% of the grind as long as you have learning points, and because we're a brand new character, with our 3 days of premium active, we have 90. You start with 100 learning points when you activate that free 3 days of premium. So again, you're going to wander around a bit more outside here, and you're going to skin Impalas, and you're going to kill skeletons with your tier 2 set until your stone sells, which some of my stone sold. And so we're sitting pretty right now, but not all of my stone sold because I'm up to 13,000 silver. And again, just kill undeads and skin impalas and continue doing that for a little while. Now I'm going to pull a bunch of impalas and then skin them all at once with our fire staff here. And there we go. And again, we can sell this rugged hide the exact same way that we sell the rough stone and make a decent amount doing it. Because right now, on at least on this server, rugged hide is worth 45. So it's worth half as much as that rough stone, and it's a little bit more annoying to farm. But we do need to level this up so that we can get better skinning knives, and later we can get gathering equipment that gives us a bonus to our gathering, making this even more profitable. Now, at some point, you're going to try to skin, and it's going to say your skinning knife is broken and needs to be repaired. Well, lucky for us, these little outposts all have repair stations, every single one of them. So just ride it to any of these faction outposts, and let's skip ahead here. So when you're at the outpost, click this little table with a plus symbol on it. That's the repair bench. Just click repair all. Don't worry. Look, we're selling our stone. We're at 72,000, and there we go. Now we're all nice and repaired. Also, I just want to point out while you're out here, there's a few things you might notice, some weird dungeons and stuff. This is a group dungeon. You don't have a group, you can't do this, you'll die. This is a solo dungeon. While you technically can do a solo dungeon, it is massively, massively not worth the time or the energy or the effort. The fame you get from mobs in the open world massively exceed the fame you would get from a solo dungeon, and the loot you get in a solo dungeon sucks. It is nerfed to complete hell. It is an old legacy content in the game that has not been updated or replaced. Also, you're going to notice other animals. You have like these moa birds that are tier 3 and these cougars that are tier 3. You can't skin those until you upgrade your knife to tier 2, and we're at 15%, so I need to continue skinning animals here until I get to 20%, and I'll cut back to you when that happens. And there it is, learning point reached, Journeyman Animal Skinner. So again, you'll see it over here on your little UI. Click this button, use those 5 learning points. We just unlocked a tier 3 skinning knife, and yes, we're still using the tier 1 skinning knife, so we're skipping to tier 3 skinning knives. So now that our stone is sold, we've got a nice chunk of rugged hide we can also sell for silver. Again, this is worth about 13,000 at the moment, and prices will be different depending on what server you're playing in. If you're playing on the EU fastest, freshest start, yes, the prices might be a little different, but after a couple weeks, they're going to normalize. But continue to grab, like, someone killed these and didn't skin them, so this is just free money on the ground. And, let's see, that loot is protected for 57 more seconds because whoever killed it didn't skin it. But again, just continue skinning and then make your way back to town. Time to upgrade our gear. So the first thing that you're going to buy is a tier 3 skinning knife. So you're just going to type skinning knife here into the search. Then you're going to click this tier drop down and click on tier 3. Now, again, 400 something silver, don't worry, it's totally worth it. Go ahead and buy one, and when you're done, you'll be able to sell it back to someone for 95. These numbers will absolutely vary. And then your tier 1 skinning knife, you can just destroy it. Don't even bother selling it or whatever. It's made of junk material. But also, we can sell this rugged hide. So I'm just going to clear my search parameters here, and then click sell rugged hide, and you can see that someone's offering 29 for it, or if I list it at 30, which everyone else is listing it for 30 or higher, I'm just going to sell it for 29, giving me a fresh 9,994. That was literally just a few minutes of skinning. I didn't spend that long at all getting that. Now, here's what you're going to buy. So I'm just going to toggle tier 3, and then I'm going to go into search, and the first thing is cursed staff. So there we have a Journeyman's Cursed Staff. Just buy the cheapest one. Don't worry about quality right now. So I'm buying a Journeyman's Cursed Staff. There we go. And then Mercenary Jacket. And go ahead and buy one of those. There we go. And then Soldier Boots. Buy one of those. Scholar. Okay, that one's not available, so we'll try again. And that one's not available. Try again. Someone's buying all the boots. Okay, Scholar Cowl. Next up, that's our helmet. There we go. And then we're going to type... Hold on, let me scroll it up here. Tome of Spells is the next one. Tome of Spells. Typing that into the search bar. We're buying the Tome of Spells. And then, okay, you're gonna buy a riding horse, and these are about 10k. I can't actually wear the riding horse yet because I don't have the Journeyman's. Or a transport ox. The transport ox is for gathering, so you can carry way more stuff without having to go to town. The riding horse is just faster for riding around and killing mobs. Because I don't have the journeyman's level yet, and because you may not be able to buy this on the EU server on Fresh Start, or it might be too expensive, we'll skip it for now. But we're going to go ahead and equip all of these items, and they're green. Look at that. We went from brown, ew, gross, icky, to green. Yay. Green weapon, armor, we got the skinning knife, the boots, the helmet, and the offhand. So now I'm going to allocate the skills here. So I'm going to be using force field and the passive aggression on the helmet. For the armor, I'm going to be using the Inferno Shield and the passive Balanced Mind for more damage. For boots, I'm going to be using Rejuvenating Sprint and Toughness for defense. For the weapon, I'm going to be using Cursed Sickle, as it's the second Q ability here, and everything else should already be selected. We have Armor Piercer, the passive Bane, and there is no thing to toggle for your offhand. So we're all set here. Back to grinding. Well, sort of. Let's clear our search parameters, and you can repair and sell your tier 2 equipment now. You don't need it anymore. It may not sell for much on the Fresh Start server, but someone will be willing to buy it for some amount of money. So just go ahead and sell this stuff. You'll never be using this again. It's cheap garbage. And yes, we are now all set for the next step, which is more grinding. Now, depending on your money, we can actually skip a grind. Now, we're going to go back to grinding in that same tier 4 blue zone, but you see on the right side of your screen here, you have a daily bonus. Mine shows 695 out of 1,200. And we're going to get a Tome of Insight that's worth 10,000 fame when we consume it for completing this. And it's very easy to complete. Also, if you followed my instructions at the start of the video and used my referral link, you should receive an in-game mail at some point, which I can't refer myself. That's against the game's terms of service. You will receive an in-game mail by clicking this mail icon with a Tome of Insight that you can claim right now. But for now, we're going to do the grind in case people didn't use the referral link or it's behind, because if there's a lot of people, the mail system might be backlogged. But anyway, we're back in the tier 4 zone, and now with our tier 3 equipment, things are a little different. We're no longer a fire staff mage. We are a curse staff user, and here's how curse staffs work. This will throw a cursed sickle that looks like this. It attacks in a line, and it puts these little skulls over the enemy that deals damage over time. You can stack these skulls up to 4 times on a target, and they will continuously take damage over time until the debuff wears off. Now, also with this tier 3 skinning knife, you can skin way faster, and that is awesome, awesome, awesome stuff, right? So, there's a few other abilities that we have on our weapon now that I also want to show off. And that is the second ability, which is a laser beam, which it looks like this. And what that does is that pierces the target's armor and deals damage. So now the armor is pierced on the, well, it was pierced. It only lasts for a little bit of time, but it makes everything that you do deal more damage. So with that laser piercer, also it's really good for pulling distant mobs, especially if you're a skinner. Which, you shouldn't be fighting animals you can't skin yet. We can technically skin these now, by the way. With this tier 3 knife, you can skin the tier 4 animals, which, it's going to take a little bit of extra time, but, you know, it makes some silver, so feel free to start skinning all these animals and, killing mobs. You really want to focus on killing mobs. Now, this is an enchanted mob. You cannot skin this yet without a tier 4 knife, so you can skip that one. But, the third ability on the curse staff is called Death Curse. And this is an explosion of damage. And what you want to do is you want to make sure that the target has 4 stacks of the skull when you cast it on them, which I cast it on the wrong target here. I cast it on the animal. But after a certain delay, it will explode, and the more skulls on the target, the higher damage you deal. This is currently the highest damage attack that you can possibly get in the entire game, and the highest DPS loadout you can get in the entire game. And it's only going to serve you better and better. So here's how I like to fight the enemies. So I cast the curse staff, or the curse sickle. I got 2 stacks on him. I'm going to hit him with the E spell, get stunned by the arrow. And then before this explodes, you can see right here, there's the debuff. He's armor pierced. And there we go. We now have the Journeyman Adventurer unlocked. That will allow us to ride those tier 3 horses. And we have Adept Reaver unlocked, which will now... We now deal additional damage, have additional defense against the tier 4 enemies. Because that's unlocked, you can now safely farm everything here, and they will do minimal damage. And this is an enchanted tier 4 mob. If you see these, go out of your way to kill them. Absolutely do not stand in their attacks. They're highly dangerous. But these guys, and that's gonna hurt. But yeah, it's gonna hurt. And then let's armor pierce that. There we go. But we can take this on. Use your abilities. Knock it back. Knock it around. You can definitely take this on. And they drop good silver, high fame, and a chance to drop items. We actually lucked out and got a tier 3 cape and a tier 2 helmet. Who cares? But let's go ahead and get back to town because it's time for us already to advance to tier 4. And this is the part where new players get stuck on. They will sit here on tier 3 equipment for weeks. But because I'm going to teach you how to skip ahead, we can get to tier 4. Also, I need to complete my daily bonus. So I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick. And there we go. We have the Adept's Tome of Insight unlocked from the daily bonus, which I get another one in 14 hours. And let's go ahead and click this Adventurous Challenge and then click Claim. And there we go. We now have a 10,000 fame book that we can consume for 10,000 fame. But we're not going to consume it yet. We're actually going to equip different gear and then consume it so that we can apply that experience towards the gear. But I'm going to make my way back to town now and kill mobs along the way and not get hit by the damn arrows. And there we go. So right now I'm up to 79,000 silver, and we've got some fame on our tier 3 equipment that we did. I've got some skins and hides to sell and some loot that we found. Things are going pretty good. So while in town, one thing you want to always be in a habit of is hitting up the repair station. I just got done grinding. We're hitting up the repair station, 249 silver. We can't sell our gear unless it's fully repaired. We're going to go back into the market, sell everything we skinned, sell the loot that we grabbed. And, I mean, if you want to equip this tier 3 cape, you can. I'm personally not going to because it doesn't really do much. I'm just going to sell it to this guy for 500, this tier 2 helmet for 12. These hides for, again, 29. These tier 4 hides for 27. No, let's sell order that for 38. There we go. Alright, so now, because we grinded in our tier 3 set, we can now level up to tier 4. So to do that, the easy way to do that is to click on your cursed staff, and then click to item equipable. There we go. And then you're going to scroll up from here, because this is Journeyman Mage. This is already unlocked. And we're going to scroll up to the very rightmost node here. And this is the Tome Fighter node. This is your offhand that we've been using. And we're going to go ahead and learn that for 2. There we go. That unlocks all brand new offhands, including the Moisac, and a bunch of other useful ones. And then we're going to go to Warlock, which is right next to it. That's the cursed staff we're using, and we're going to use 6 learning points on that. Now we have access to all the different cursed staff types, which includes tier 4. Then on here on the top right of your screen, I'm going to click the Plate Boot Fighter, and we're going to learn that. So now we have access to tier 4 plate boots. We're going to click the Leather Armor Jacket Fighter, learn that, so we have access to the tier 4 leather jackets. And then again with the Cloth Cowl, learn that, so we have tier 4 cloth cowls. And there we go. We've spent, 24 of our learning points right now, and a lot of that is going to go towards gathering. As a matter of fact, the rest of our learning points are all going to go towards gathering. So, but now we have access to tier 4 equipment, and so it's time once again to sell our gear and change out. It's time to buy more gear. It's time to get a mount, a real mount, and not the damn mule. So we're going to buy a Journeyman's Riding Horse. This is going to be about 10k. It might be more on the Fresh Start EU server, but buy it when you can. You don't have to buy this immediately on that server. Next up is the Adept's Mage Cowl, so I'm going to type Mage Cowl, and I'm going to select the Tier 4 drop-down box, and now I want you to buy a 0.1. This means enchantment level 1. You'll notice that Mage Cowl is worth 900 silver here. If I click this enchantment drop-down box, which I know the text is hiding it a little bit, but there's a drop-down box, and click enchantment 1, you can see that I can buy this Mage Cowl for 2,645, which is a much more powerful helmet. So we're going to buy that. And then we're going to buy Guardian Boots, so I'm going to type Guardian Boot. And then, again, buy the 0.1 version. There we go. And then we're going to buy a Cursed Staff. So, here's what you have to be careful about when searching for the Cursed Staff. I want you to be careful here, because there is a two-handed version called the Great Cursed Staff, which sometimes the search will default it to. But we just want to buy the regular Cursed Staff, and we want to buy a 0.1 version. So there we go. We're going to buy that now. There we go. Next up is the Stalker Jacket. And then we're going to type that in. And this is a leather jacket that deals damage. Now, this is a little more expensive. 10,000. We're going to, again, buy that. And then a bag. This is for more carry weight, which I can't use this yet. You can see that it's colored red. I haven't unlocked that Journeyman's level yet. You can go ahead and buy it now if you want or not. I think I'll just wait for now. But that's all we're buying at the moment. Now make sure to put on your new equipment here. So we have a Cursed Staff. Again, we're going to select the Q2 spell. This is Q, this is Q1, Vile Curse. Q2 is known as Cursed Sickle. And then we're going to slap on the Mage Cowl. This time we have a new ability called Fire Breath. We're going to equip that along with the Passive Aggression. And then we're going to equip the Stalker Jacket and equip the Electric Field ability with the Balanced Mind. And then Guardian Boots. And we're going to... You can use Rejuvenating Sprint, or you can use Giant. Giant is really nice because it basically, it reduces the damage you take by half while it's active. But you shouldn't need it unless you're very, very new to the game. Feel free to use either ability, whichever is to your tastes. And then, of course, we're going to, we're on our mule. We're going to push A to get off our mule, and then equip the horse. And then now you are so much faster with this horse. And you can carry a little bit more weight with the horse. So the horse is just a straight upgrade. Now, the transport ox is even more carry weight, but you have to have the ox summoned, and you can't walk around without it summoned. It's weird how it works. But we're going to be using the horse for now. And with this tier 3 gear and this mule that you have, we're going to sell it all. You're going to sell it the exact same way that you've sold things before. You're going to keep your skinning knife. Keep your skinning knife, but sell everything else. There's a few more things that we need to buy, so go ahead and buy a novice's bow. You'll have to clear your search parameters or select at least tier 2 here, and you're just buying a novice's bow. So we're going to buy the bow, and then you're going to buy a journeyman's torch. So we're going to type journeyman's torch, and this will be red for you. You can't equip this yet, but you need to buy one anyway. So there we go. So now that you have the bow and the torch, there's a few things. You're going to equip the bow. And it doesn't matter what abilities, we're not going to be using the actual bow. But with all of this gear equipped, you're going to consume that Adept's Tome of Insight. There we go. We've consumed it, which will then allow us now to equip our Cursed Staff back along with this tier 3 torch. And at this point, if you did the referral thing, you will have another Tome of Insight that you can use. Otherwise, you need to go grind for just a bit until you unlock on the Destiny board here. From the middle, you'll scroll to the left to Trainee Fighter. Then you'll go up and left to the Journeyman Hunter. From here, you're going to follow this topmost node all the way here to Torch Fighter. You need to level this up to 20% and use the learning points so that we can access the Crypt Candle offhand. Now, again, if you have the tome from the referral, you can just pop it with the torch equipped and you're all set. Otherwise, go outside and grind a bit. Also, while you're here, you can sell your bow and this Journeyman's Tome of Spells. Also, once you get tier 4 skinning unlocked, if you ever see a purple glow, that is huge, huge, huge money. You always want to grab these. It's insane how much money that is right there. I had to switch to my main character here just to take this out real quick. So, it's too good to not pass up. So, again, this is with tier 8 gathering equipment and a tier 8 Avalonian skinning knife, but no premium and a pork pie boost, which I'm going to cover later in the video. But we skinned this animal. Look how much silver this is. This is 84,000 in like one click. I clicked one time and I made 84,000 silver. So this is what you're building up to be able to do. To be able to, like, well, we spent like a whole hour gathering stone, and later on, once your character's developed, you can get that amount in a second. And here's the cool thing. Now that I've killed this, I could technically sit here and time its respawn, which I've made videos for on my channel. I have over 700 videos in this damn game. And every 3 to 5 minutes, this thing is going to respawn, and I can just kill it and skin it again for the next hour and just make tons and tons and tons of money. And do remember, if I had premium active, it would have been a 50% bonus on top of that, so that's another, it'd be like 120, 130, 140k. And you may be thinking, bro, I've seen really, really rich players in this game. That's not a lot of money. And if you want to see a lot of money, I guess I can show you. So, estimated market value of all this stuff in this one chest, 843 million. Here's another 491 million. All right, this chest, 24 million. This chest, 270 million. This one's got 9 million. This is a tier 8 guild hall worth 100 million. I have... Do you need more proof that my guides work and that I know what I'm talking about? 28.9 million in that chest. 83.3 million in that chest, and this is one island out of hundreds. I have hundreds of islands, I have hundreds of characters, and yeah, it only gets better. And then if you check my liquid silver, 830 million on just this character. I've got gold for premium anytime I want it. I am fully loaded, and everything I'm teaching you in this guide today is how I made this fortune. Now, granted, I do deposit most of my liquid just to keep it safe, just in case, because the devs aren't really... I'm not their favorite player. I'm one of the only people that aren't sponsored. Anyway, let's get back to the guide. But anyway, the whole point I'm trying to get at here is that you want to level up your skinning as fast as possible, because while I can kill this creature, I can't skin it. I can't, you know, get this the fortune that it holds, because I don't have a tier 4 skinning knife. I need a tier 4 skinning knife to skin this thing. That is just money that I am losing right now by not leveling up fast enough. So that's why we are prioritizing skinning. One resource to gather, not all of them. If you split and try to gather all resources, you won't have enough learning points, you're going to level up too slow, it's just too much of a burden. That's why we're only focusing on skinning at the moment. Also, if you want to be picky, these tiny little ghouls here with 385 health, they don't give a lot of fame, but these shield and sword, heavier armored looking undeads give way more fame. So if you want to be really min-maxy, then feel free to, you know, go after them and ignore the little guys, which is what I'm doing for the sake of this video. Also, I just want to point out that you have more power now with this tier 4.1 equipment. You have the ability to cast a Fire Breath spell, which deals damage and damage over time. You have Electric Field, which deals damage to everything around you. And because you have an armor-piercing spell that lowers their defense, that amplifies the damage that you can deal. Also, these archer enemies are very nice, but these like little non-armored melee dudes, they're really not worth it. So, again, just kill everything you can until you have that Torch Fighter level 20% here on the right side. And you're going to be getting a bunch of level ups, you know, learning points reach. Every time you see this, don't just click this and click learn. That is a waste of learning points. We're no longer putting learning points into our fighting equipment, except for Torch Fighter here, which we just got. So now that we've learned Torch Fighter, our next goal is to be able to buy a crypt candle. And these things are expensive. Right now, the cheapest is 42,000, and we want an enchanted one. So we're going to need to skin more animals, and we're going to replace our tier 3 torch with the 4.1 crypt candle when we can afford it. And I just want to mention that skinning is going to take you a while to hit that 20% into Adept. Once we hit Adept, we can wear gathering equipment. We can get that tier 4 skinning knife that we talked about, and I showed you why you're going to want that. It's going to take a while, but hey, we have the equipment now to mass pull enemies like so. This is how you skin efficiently. Look at all these birds, right? We're just going to electrocute them, light them on fire, curse them, shoot them with laser beams, and look at that. We killed the entire pack in what, almost one full rotation of spells. Now you sit here and you skin them all. You're gonna rinse and repeat this for quite a while. It is a grind. This is an MMORPG. It will take time to do this. You may encounter an enemy with a circle underneath them. This is a mini boss. These are kind of dangerous. Now if they have a spiked circle, that is a harder boss, and so you really got to dodge all of their attacks and really give it your all. So I'm trying to make sure that I don't stand in any of their attacks, and I'm going to be using every... Oh, I stood in that attack. But I'm going to be using every one of my abilities that I have to not die here, including the boots that helps me restore my health. But you can see it's a tough fight, but it is winnable. You just have to really play good, and it's super worth killing these. Man, this is coming down to the wire. Oh, don't stand in that. Again, there we go. 18,343, 2,601 silver drops, and some gear. So very, very good stuff. Always give it your all to kill those. Don't not fight those. As long as you're good at dodging, and we're going to upgrade our equipment even more so that they become effortless and easy. Super effortless and easy. Now, I also want to point out, remember earlier in the tutorial I taught you how to do mob pulls? Well, you're going to do the same thing with open world mobs. You're going to try to group everybody up like so. Get them all nice and bunched up, and then you can just attack them all at once willy-nilly, while dodging their attacks, of course. And the archers are the dangerous ones here, but hey, you know, we're able to basically just deal tons and tons of damage. And if you think you're overwhelmed or there's 2 enemies shooting at you like there is right now, hop on your mount, or just run away. The enemies will leash. I'm going to wait for that to explode, and then I'm going to run away. This will reset the fight, which is totally fine. Feel free to eat one of these vegetable soups, your carrot soup here. And that will restore your HP passively much faster. But I'm just gonna save mine for now. And again, I'm just gonna pull these enemies here. Go ahead and just again feel free to use all of your abilities and spells. And once we get that crypt candle, we're going to be dealing even more damage even faster. And then we have one more equipment slot to upgrade, and that is our cape. After that, we'll be eating specific food to increase our damage, increasing our efficiency when gathering, and also when killing mobs. And as far as potions go, we won't even be using any potions because they're just a money sink right now. Also remember, you do have durability on that skinny knife. Even though it's tier 3, it still has durability, so just right into one of these outposts every once in a while, hit that repair bench. You can easily afford it, and then continue your grind. So here's that spiky boss that I've been talking about, and if you have your game music sound up, you'll hear special music when nearby. Listen to this. Anyway, so that's a telltale sign that you're near a boss. So this is a very difficult fight. This thing has 9,600 HP. I don't know if I can take it, but it's a little bit out of the way. There's not going to be too many players around it, so I might come back later for this if it's still up. But it is absolutely worth trying. If you get downed, you do not drop your stuff. You do not lose your gear. If an enemy downs you, you just simply lose 5% durability on everything that you're carrying, which means, yeah, you lose some silver due to repairs, but it's absolutely worth trying to kick this guy's butt. And if you decide to, I highly recommend using Giant instead of the regeneration sprint, but yeah, so kick its butt. Oh boy, I'm so close. There we go, 77,211. Look at that, and it dropped a bunch of loot that we can sell. Very cool. And I accidentally aggroed one of these cougars. That was really close and down to the line, but I'm going to tell you right now, this is the only build that could have done that this early on in the game. No other player, no other new player would have been able to take that on at the current power of gear that we have. And it's not a skill issue, it's a gear issue. And later on, we will be able to eat a food that gives us lifesteal, making it trivial. And later on, even later with our build that we're leveling up currently, we will be able to equip different, like higher tier weapons that give us the ability called Cursed Tar and Cursed Beam, which deal even more damage per second and heal us for even more. And because we're leveling up Cursed Staff, it's passively leveling up a weapon called the Shadow Caller, which the Shadow Caller has a spell on it, the E-spell, which will, this is a lot of text, I know, which will heal us for the damage that we deal, and that's how we can go into these group areas and just completely solo everything. It's so crazy how much we scale up, and that's why I'm having you level up this specific gear set. It's just really, really efficient and fast to do this. And if you were wearing plate or cloth, you wouldn't have won that fight. I'm telling you right now, you gotta wear leather. But here I can just face tank all these enemies' skills and still blow them up and still fame up. At some point, you will have unlocked what's called Master Reaver. Remember, on the Destiny board, we go to the left here, we have Journeyman Reaver, Adept Reaver. This is tier 4 zones, and then Expert Reaver. Once you've unlocked Expert Reaver, we can now farm tier 5 mobs, which are even better than tier 4 mobs. Oh, that's a lot of stags. That's so many stags. This is a beautiful pull. This usually doesn't happen, but man, oh man, this is great. And yes, they're kicking my butt. Oh, I didn't mean to mount up. No, I ruined the pull. Oh, there's another one there. We got to skin all of these. Hold on. Wow, I nearly died doing that, but hey, you know, we took care of it. We have the exact build to AoE down these massive amounts of mobs. Now, remember, you have 2 whole minutes to skin these before other players can run up and steal it. Also, remember earlier when I told you not to do these solo dungeons? If you see that they have purple or golden butterflies, they might be worth doing, but it's a gamble. Anyway, once we've unlocked, or we're working towards Master Reaver, this allows us to what's called Faction Flag. So we can start earning faction points, we can start doing some safe PvP, and because we're going to be doing faction stuff, we'll be earning chest rewards and faming up even faster than before. It is absolutely worth doing. So once you have, once you start noticing that it says, what is it, Master Reaver up here, that you're started working towards that, it's time to go back to town and flag up for your faction. Also, I'm a bit overweight. I have 104% carry capacity, so I can still move, but I'm moving slower. You can go to your boots and switch your passive to carry capacity, and that'll get you back to town because now I'm down to 83%. But just remember, switch your boots back before you know you head back out to grind some more. Right now, they changed how much you need to faction enlist, so we'll do that later. So don't worry about that. But it is something that we want to do as soon as possible. Right now, our goal is to unlock tier 4 skinning. That's our #1 priority. So we're going to go to the market and we're going to sell our skins. for a reasonable, decent, and fair price, of course. And we're going to, also any kind of loot that mobs have dropped, we're just going to sell that as well. Not too much. I'm up to 93,000, it looks like. Not too bad, not too shabby. And our next goal, I'm going to repair this while I'm here. Our next goal is to buy a crypt candle. So I'm going to type crypt candle. And I want to buy the 0.1 enchanted crypt candle here. So there we go. I'm just going to buy this one right here. And then equip this. Now, I do want to give you a warning. I'm also going to sell this torch real fast. Repair it and then sell it. Because we don't need the torch anymore. So the thing with the crypt candle. This increases the damage that you deal by a significant amount. However, it lowers your defense slightly. The ability to deal more damage on all of your attacks greatly outweighs the enemy dealing damage to you. It really, really does. So this puts us down at 32,000 silver, and we're going to continue grinding and gathering and, you know, building up our silver so that we can afford the next upgrade, which is a magical cape that will let us cast our Q spell twice in a row with no cooldown. That's what we're going to do. So I'm going to go back out to that tier 4 zone, and I'm going to continue skinning animals. Now, every time my carry capacity gets full, I simply return to town and sell the hide and repair everything. And if you want to stay out longer, you can switch your horse to an ox. But let me show you how to store your stuff, because there is a bank you can use. So, here, let me show you the bank. So, here's the marketplace, and if you go southwest, there's the Bank of Bridgewatch. Remember that chest that was in the starter zone that we talked about that only you can access and no one can, you know, open and steal your stuff? Well, there's another one right here in the middle in the bank. So, you can store your horse while you ride around on an ox if you want. But I do recommend the horse. It's just faster to get around. And as far as returning to town a bunch... eventually, you do want to return to town whenever you are close to being able to faction flag. Which, for this this character, this playthrough, let me go ahead and just sell the remaining stuff here so I can show you. I'm very close to being able to access faction flagging. I just need maybe one more little trip out, and we're good to go. And I'm saving up for about 100,000, maybe 120,000 silver. It might be more expensive on the EU Fresh Start. But we're going to buy a magical cape, and I'm still not there yet, so we'll get there shortly. I'm going to go back to skinning now, because I'm at 11% out of 20. It's time to faction flag, so here in Bridgewatch, to the right of the marketplace, is this orange flag that says Faction Enlistment. There is a character here you can click on, and you should have this enlist button highlighted for you by the time you hit Master Adventurer, or... start working towards Master Adventurer, rather. So you want to go ahead and enlist. And this is not a permanent decision. Don't worry, you can always change factions later. It's not a big deal. This is just a multiplier in your fame, silver, loot, and another currency you can farm to earn more loot and fame. So we're going to enlist, and then we're going to flag up. And that's going to put an orange flag next to our name. And again, this is still safe zone stuff. You cannot die and lose all of your stuff when we're faction flagged. When the game first came out, yes, that was the case, but now, when you're in a safe zone, a blue zone, or a yellow zone, when you faction flag, you will not drop your stuff when you die. So we're going to talk to the faction enlistment person here, and if you click the second tab for faction items, the thing that we want to buy with our points is the Iron Campaign Chest Bridgewatch. This is what we want to spend our points on, and you will earn these points by doing anything and everything while flagged. When you kill mobs, when you gather, and when you do capture outposts. So here's a cool thing. You're going to open your map, and you're going to click this drop-down box here at the top, and then change it to Faction Warfare. So as Bridgewatch, you're the orange color. Well, the enemy team is the green color and the blue color. You probably won't see purple or white intrude into our territory here, but if there's any action going on, you want to be part of it. So remember those little faction outposts you've been repairing your gear at? Well, they can be captured by the enemy faction, and you can capture them back. So right now, if you get bored of grinding, you can ride up here to the blue zones and actually start beating up people who have a blue flag. Now, it's also very important that you're faction flagged, because when you enter a yellow zone, if someone is PvP flagged, they cannot attack you. Only people that are also faction flagged in an enemy faction can attack you. And also, everyone else that has this little orange flag is now by default your friend and your ally. This means that, you know, if you're doing like an outpost chest or something that spawns in the world, you are all on the same team, and you're all able to farm the same exact thing. So you'll notice now that I'm getting faction points whenever I kill these mobs. Now, it's not much, but it really adds up, and it adds up quickly. So you can see, like, when you kill actual regular mobs, they're going to give way more than 1 point, obviously. But every time I skin, I get faction points. Every time I kill mobs, I get faction points. Whenever I go and capture these outposts, like right now, you can see that Halden Tor here is being attacked. The blue team is attacking this outpost. Eventually, they will push their way to Bridgewatch, and then Bridgewatch will push their way back to Martlock, and so on and so forth. So just keep an eye out on the map and see where activity is happening. And on the Fresh Start EU server, this is the fastest way to fame up in the whole game, is through faction activities. As soon as you can, start PvPing, start getting in there, attack the enemy flags, and kill them and learn, like, the only thing you suffer is a repair bill when they down you. And right now, your gear is so cheap that repairs are basically nothing at all. And I'm going to teach you how to gear up so that you can actually survive in these encounters, and so that you can have lots of fun and farm tons and tons of faction points. And if you ever want to check your faction points, you just click this box, click Faction Warfare. It'll show you how much you currently have. And if you have Premium active, you can claim these chests once a month. It's pretty nice. You should always be faction flagged. Now, another thing about faction flagging, too, is that once you are 3 zones away from the main city, you start getting a bonus. Right now, I'm 1 zone away, so I'm earning 5% additional fame, silver, and loot. It goes up to 15%. That is a 15% multiplier to your fame and your loot and the things you skin. It's just really, really, really nice. There is no reason not to do it. I see so many new players that aren't doing it, and you need to absolutely be doing it all of the time, because you will just be so far ahead of a player that doesn't. There's no reason not to. Oh, by the way, remember earlier when I told you about your graphic settings and to have bloom on? Well, this is why. You see this little glowing bone pile? That's a hidden treasure. So you kill this, it'll drop sometimes an item and some silver. You can just pick that up, and it's just free money, so go for it. Also, as far as solo dungeons go, these are called solo dungeons for a reason. I just saw 3 players run into here, and I guess they're new, they don't know what they're doing, they didn't decide to watch my video. This guy's got some weird gear. Like, this gear makes really no sense, and neither does this person's gear. But I can just run straight to the boss, kill the boss, and then when these guys clear the dungeon for me, I can pick up the loot. It's very rude of me to do so, but it's something that I am absolutely allowed to do and the game allows. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and do it. So here I am at the end of the dungeon. I've already stolen a chest. It didn't have much. Again, these dungeons don't have much anymore. They're hugely nerfed content. I can see that both players are in the dungeon currently clearing this floor. And I can't loot the chest until a certain amount of enemies in the dungeon have been slain. And they're going to be doing that for me. Now, I have 2 entire minutes after this chest unlocks to run back up here and grab it, while these players, because they didn't kill the boss, it's not their chest. So I can start clearing, you know, I can start going backwards and clear. But if you ever see like just a swarm of players join a solo dungeon, just run ahead to kill the boss. It's free loot. And the fame sucks in these things. It is not worth clearing. These are not worth doing. The loot and the gear sucks. The enemies, they're pretty easy to kill. But again, the fame is terrible compared to the open world. So this is just a waste of time. Another just random warning. If you ever receive one of these items, these are called Satchels of Insight. If you ever want to wear this as a bag, never ever turn on the combat study active. Only do this if you are rich, wealthy, you have passive income, and, oh man, this is crafted by the worst Twitch streamer ever. Twitch Ally Bro, you suck, and your stream sucks, and it's a scam, and buy a freaking microphone, holy crap. Anyway, the point is that these bags will absolutely suck up your silver if you turn this on active. Now, obviously, later in the game, when you're rich and wealthy, or if you're a card swiper, then absolutely wear these all the time when fame farming, because this is a 41% increase to your fame, but it does cost silver for every point of fame, so you don't want to do it unless you can afford it, okay? Alright, so they've cleared enough mobs. We can pop open the chest. Again, 2,600 in silver. A huge waste of time. We make that in like skinning a few animals, man. So I've been grinding a bit, and now our Adept Animal Skinner is above 20%, allowing us to spin learning points. Now this is a good chunk of learning points, 34. And like I told you earlier, we will only be spending our learning points on gathering, and specifically skinning. It is the highest yield earner. If you don't want to go skinning, you could go Quarrier if you want, which eventually you will be spending your learning points on all of them, but for now we are just doing skinning. So there we go, that's 34 points into Adept Animal Skinner. Now, this allows us to wear skinning specific gear to increase our yield, and a tier 4 knife, which is really nice. And then for learning points on tier 5 is 117, and then tier 6 is 234, tier 7 is 351, and tier 8 is 409. This is why we're saving our learning points specifically for these, because these are the longest grinds in the entire game. Alright, to get to tier 8, it's going to take you a very long time. If you are very dedicated and you have premium active, you can do it in a month or less. I think people have done it in 2 weeks. It took me 3 months without premium and playing very casually, only a few hours a day. It was nuts, it's crazy. But another thing too to note is that you should also grind mobs until your mastery is level 10. So we have level 10 Warlock, and if I click the armor and then click if it's item equipable, we have level 10 Leather Fighter and all that. Because at level 10, it unlocks our ability to wear tier 5 equipment. So with that said, we're now going to, again, go to the market and sell our hides and other random loot that dropped off mobs. Here is the next set of things you need to buy. So we're going to buy a tier 4 skinning knife so we can skin those enchanted mobs. I'm going to type skinning knife into the search bar and then select tier 4. There we go. Now, there's also the Avalonian version, but Avalonian skinning. There we go. These things are insanely expensive, and right now they don't really offer much, only a 10% bonus to hide yield. Eventually you'll want to get one, but we can't afford it right now, so you're just going to get the regular skinning knife. Tier 4, of course. There we go. We're just going to buy that, and then we're going to sell our tier 3 knife because we no longer need it. It is donezo. There we go. Next up, we're buying a Skinner garb. Tier 4, just flat. These things are pretty cheap. Then you're buying Skinner cap for the helmet. There it is. And Skinner work boots. Now, what this does, I'm going to explain this in a bit, but also you want a tier 4 bag, and you want it at least 0.1 or higher so you can carry more weight. So I'm going to go ahead and buy this one for 6,000, replacing our tier 2 bag. I'm going to go ahead and sell our tier 2 bag because we no longer need it. It's just defunct at this point. There you go. And then pork pie. Now, if you are playing the EU Fresh Start and you're playing the early access, this probably won't be available. But I'm going to buy 2 pork pies. There we go. And then you also want a transport ox if you can. If you're on the EU Fresh Start, this might be way too expensive right now, and you'll have to make more money and come back later. But at this point, you definitely want an ox for the carry weight. The pork pie gives us additional yield of 15% and 30% maximum load. The Skinner garb is going to give us a 5% increased yield when it's stacked all the way, and it gives us hide animal poison, meaning our auto attacks will kill animals that are skinnable much faster. Also, our Crypt Candle does amplify the damage of the hide animal poison. So the way gathering gear works is as follows. When you put it on, you are not getting the bonus of the gathering gear right away. I'm just going to put on the bear trap skill, the hide animal poison skill, and I'll do the scent of the wilderness skill, even though I probably won't use it. Rejuvenating sprint's another good one too, just because it heals you. And the way this works is you're going to get a buff up here in the top left corner under your character name. Now, this buff will count up over time until it reaches a stack of 10. The reason this is the way it is so that you can't just swap to your gathering gear, gather an animal, and then swap back to your combat gear. See, now it's stacked up to 2, and eventually it will reach 10. So this will be a 2.5% increase, 2.5% increase, and a 5% increase. Otherwise, the gathering gear is giving us 10% more animal hides. The pork pie is going to give us 15% more. Premium is giving us 50%. If we had that Avalonian skinning knife, that would be another 10%. Now, you may... This isn't much. I'm going to be real. It's not a whole lot, but the hide animal poison really helps with killing animals faster. So much faster than we've been doing with our stalker jacket. But also, as you get to the higher tiers, so let's go all the way down to tier 8, the bonuses increase massively. So this is a 35% yield just from the armor, and then the helmet and the boots is another 35%, so a total of 70. Then the Avalonian knife at tier 8 is another 20, so that's 90% increased yield instead of what we're getting right now. So you want to definitely work your way towards that because it absolutely pays dividends later to do so. Now, remember we talked about buying a cape earlier, and we're going to do so now. Next, you're going to search for Care Leon Cape. I don't know how to pronounce this word, but the enchantment level does not matter, and here's why. This spell resets the cooldown of your Q ability slot, and it has a cooldown of, well, I forget. I'm just going to go ahead and buy this cape real quick, and then when I equip it, it should tell me. Yeah, the game is not telling me the cooldown. But essentially, what this allows us to do now is on our Q spell, we can throw 2 of these immediately. Look at that. Which means we can now 4-stack anything we want to kill, and our Curse Explosion will kill it very, very quickly. This basically nearly doubles our DPS. And the cooldown is insanely short. As a matter of fact, it's like maybe 30 or 40 seconds. This cape, absolutely, it's a huge game changer. You should be using this cape from now on. You can sell your tier 2 cape. We no longer need it. I'm going to swap to my Ox now, and because I'm in gathering gear, what I want to do now, because I have 43 learning points, is I want to work my way towards tier 5 animal skinning, which requires 117 learning points. However, that's at 20%. At 40%, it will cost slightly less, and at 60%, slightly less than that. This is our main source of income now, is skinning. We switch to pork pie, and we eat the pork pie, we wear the gathering gear, we go and we skin animals while we're on our ox, and we do that for money because we need to upgrade our combat gear one more time to be pretty much guaranteed and all set for a long, long time. So real quick, I'm just going to sell everything that I'm not using here. We're keeping our combat gear. Don't sell your combat gear. I don't need this carrot soup anymore. And I'm keeping the horse. I don't need the tier 2 cape. And I'm going to bank my combat gear, but I'm going to keep my knife and the gathering gear that I have. And I'm going to go gather and raise money because we can massively increase our item power with just a little bit of gathering. So there we go. Everything's stored. Everything's good to go. I have 37,000 to my name. We have these pork pies. These last 30 minutes each and give us more gathering yield. And so here's what I'm going to do. Because I'm faction flagged as well, we're earning faction points, and that's awesome. So every once in a while I'm out gathering, I'm going to check the faction map and see where the action is. There's some action over here, not too far. Nothing really going on over here. But essentially, there's 2 places that I want to gather that are better than anything else. Here's where I recommend that you gather, and if you're on the Fresh Start EU server, these 2 zones may not be available yet. From Bridgewatch, you're going to go southeast down to Sandgust Cleft. This area is really nice to skin in. It's my favorite. It's my absolute favorite. I have like 11 videos on this zone. But if that zone is too busy, then you will continue east and go to Steelhide Meadow. Now, Steelhide Meadow has little animals on the map, and this has an unusual high activity of skinnable mobs. Not just in this little circle, but on the entire map. It is a huge place to go if you want to skin lots and lots of hides. And so I'm probably going to go spend 30 minutes to an hour skinning, and we'll see what I earn. But also, keep an eye on your map and make sure that you have Faction Warfare toggled and make sure that you're faction flagged. And you want to see if there's any action nearby. You want to go to it because that will be a huge boost to your fame and your money. So do not neglect faction farming. I'm going to go right out 3 zones away, and I'm going to do some skinning, and we'll see how much silver that I make. Now, let me give you a sample of how this works now that you're in a skinning set. So you cast Hide Animal Poison, your armor ability, and then you auto-attack the monsters or these skinnable creatures. And you'll notice that they are taking a huge chunk of damage over time. And then you can simply just finish them off with your spells, and there you go. The higher the tier armor, the more that your Hide Animal Poison will do, to the point where you can one-shot these later on in the game. You cast Hide Animal Poison, you auto-attack the enemy once they die. And it's so quick and so smooth and so easy. But here's the coolest thing about Hide Animal Poison, right? Is before you mount back up, you cast it, and it is active for quite a while. If you look at your buffs, it is this orange circle that is that's there. As long as that orange circle is there, your Hide Animal Poison is active, and you can just tag every enemy you want. There you go. And then all I have to do is auto-attack these guys twice, and they're basically dead. Like, that's it. They will just die to the point. I don't even need to cast abilities anymore. Okay, that one took 3 for some reason, but I'm just going to ride around now, and I'm going to get to the zone that I'm going to skin in. Then I'm going to eat my pork pie, and we'll see how much we make. Now, while skinning, you may be tempted to fame farm, and you totally can if you want to, but it's very inefficient to fame farm in your gathering gear. It will only fame up your weapon and your offhand. It will not fame up your armor because this is gathering gear. It does not receive fame from killing mobs. It only receives fame when you gather materials. Alright, checking in, I did take a small real-life break, but our character has 4 hours, 30 minutes of playtime. Now, that break was me making a YouTube video out of the thing we're just talking about, skinning and skinning per hour. Look at that thumbnail, isn't it cute? And there you go, you can check out that video if you want skinning new character makes bacon Albion Online. But don't worry, I'm going to share the results with you, and I'm going to put them on screen now. And this is a whole lot of data here. So, essentially, we made 178,000 silver per hour through skinning. It took 35 minutes to achieve 100,000 silver. And in that 30 minutes of time, we completed 6% towards our Tier 5 skinning. So this means that in 100 minutes, if you have the learning points, you will get to Tier 5 skinning. But if you don't have the learning points, it's going to take you a total of 8.333 hours to get to Tier 5 skinning without the learning points. So if you have 8 hours to spare today on your first day, go out there, skin. This number will only increase. I also want to point out that in that video and in that testing, the results were the worst possible results. This means no baby drops, no tome drops, and no 0.2 or 0.3 enchanted drops. This is only 0.1 and then flat 4. And the majority of things we skinned were Tier 4 mobs, because the more Tier 4 mobs that you skin, the faster you get at it. So it's what you really should prioritize. But right now, I'm going to go ahead and sell these hides. It's time to teach you about learning points and how to get them. So learning points, when you open your Destiny board, they will be right here at the top of the screen where my cursor is circling around. I currently have 46 learning points. Here is how you get them. When you have an active premium subscription, which as a new player doing the tutorial, if you turn in those quests, you will have 3 days of premium, as you can see right up here at the top right corner. Every single day that you have premium active, you will passively earn 30 learning points. You don't even have to log into the game, you don't have to play the game or anything, you will just receive 30 learning points. The very first time that you purchase premium, either with real money, gold, or silver, you will receive 500 learning points the very first time. Right here, it says right here, purchase for the first time, you get 500 learning points and 30,000 focus. We'll talk about focus towards the end of the video. That's just it's a crafting bonus, but essentially, you can pay to win and get the 500 learning points pretty quick, right? The other way to get learning points without premium is you must do your daily bonus. Now, remember, we learned about the daily bonus earlier in the video. We got 1,200 of these challenge points. They look like the golden keys. You just get these by killing mobs, gathering. It's very quick and easy to do, and the more powerful you get, like I can log into a character and have this completed in under 1 minute. Without premium, you will need to complete the daily bonus, and then you will be rewarded with 10 learning points. That is 10 learning points per day without premium, 30 learning points per day with premium. And learning points, again, right now, as a new player, you should be dumping all of them into beelining the highest tier you can into skinning. This means that right now I'm at 46 learning points, so at this exact time tomorrow, I will have 76 learning points, and then the next day I will have 116, and because it's still an active premium day, it trickles up slowly. You don't just tick over with 30 learning points. It slowly adds up as the time goes. So what this means is that essentially I can just, I need to push this to 20% though, so I need to skin until I'm 20% of the way for this bar to be filled up, and then in 2 days time, from after leveling that up to 20%, I will be ready to learn this and advance to Tier 5. Or, like I shared with you earlier, you can just skin on your first day for 8 straight hours, fill this up to 100% manually, and then go to Tier 5. Now, to go to Tier 6, again, 234 learning points. It's going to take even more time, right? Twice as long. Now, of course, if you don't have premium and you have 0 learning points, this would be 24 days until you can learn it. But this is what you're going to be spending your time doing when you need to farm money. When you need to farm silver, you skin. You need to save all your learning points. It's very important that you save all of your learning points and put it into skinning. This will massively, massively increase your silver per hour earnings. So that's what I want you to do. But until then, or while you skin, you also want to grind and fame up your weapons. Because right now, we just have a 4.1 curse staff and a 4.1 crypt candle. These are kind of weak. They'll get you through the starter zones, but they're not very strong on their own until we level them up. So that's what we're going to focus on. Here's what I want you to prioritize. So I want you to prioritize leveling up your skinning to tier 5 and then to tier 6, tier 7, and tier 8. Now, every time you level up a tier in skinning, you need to replace your gathering gear with tier 5 gear, tier 5 skinning knife, tier 6, etc. When you hit tier 7, you're really going to notice the speed increase. Now, you're going to be using the silver that you're earning from skinning to buy the following. You're going to be buying 5.3 equipment. This is the red colored equipment. I'm going to just hide my screen here, or hide the text. This is a 5.3 crypt candle, and you can see a curse staff at 5.3 on our current character is an item power of 1,131, which is up from our item power of 831. This is a huge jump in power, and yeah, you definitely want to have this. So with a 5.3 curse staff, stalker jacket, mage cowl, and you want to buy it in this specific order: guardian boots and then crypt candle. Your total cost is going to be about 1 million silver. Let's just say 1 million silver. We're going to round it up. It's not, but we're going to round it up. This is about 6 hours of skinning. Yes, I know. 6 hours of skinning. Well, guess what? That's 18 anime episodes. That's all it is. If you're going to binge watch anime, if you're going to chill and gather and watch streams in YouTube, it's not really that long. This is an MMORPG. This game is a grind. This is one of the grindier MMORPGs in existence, and you have to get used to this. But remember, everything that you're doing, this money is not gone forever. When you buy these items, you will eventually replace them. You absolutely will eventually replace these items. And when you do, you can sell them back at a slight loss. Anywhere from like 10 to 15% value lost. So you're going to get back around 800,000 of this silver when you're done with these items. As long as you don't go out into a full loot zone and die and lose them, you make your silver back. So think of it as a rental of sorts. Here is the gear upgrade comparison. So currently in the 4.1 gear that we have, I'm at 1,961 HP. Our laser beam hits for 201. Our curse sickle hits for 26 and then 22 as the dot, stacking of course. Our fire breath hits for 50 with a 50 dot, and our lightning field hits for 32 per tick. So it's still pretty decent. And now with the 5.3 equipment, we have 2,392 HP. Our laser beam hits for 282. Our curse sickle has a damage over time of 30 per tick, stacking. Fire breath hitting for 70 and then 70 per tick. And our lightning field hitting for 46 per tick. So you can see it's not the biggest upgrade, but it is a substantial upgrade that will make your life incredibly easy. Now at this point, since we have 5.3 gear, we can go ahead and sell our 4.1 gear. We will no longer need this. There's no reason to keep it around, and I'm just going to repair everything here and then just sell it. Ooh, that's not a good deal, so I'm going to sell order that, which means, I mean, you might lose a little bit of silver on your selling, but it's totally fine. And yeah, that's a big loss there, so let's sell order that. I'll just quick sell that one, and yeah, let's sell order that. So we don't want to get completely gypped, but we're going to get some of that money back. Now, at this point, we're going to buy something called beef stew. Just the regular beef stew. It should be anywhere from 2,000 to 4,000, and I'm just going to buy one of these. You can buy more than one if you want, and this will increase our damage by 13.5% for 30 minutes, allowing us to fame farm much more efficiently. Now, I'm just using a regular horse, a regular Carleon cape, a regular 4.1 bag. I'm still not using any potions. Let's go fame farm in the most efficient way for our power level. Here are the steps that we're going to do. We're going to be faction flagged. We have that orange flag next to our name. We have, we're going to be going 3 zones away. We're also going to be fame farming open world mobs in a tier 5 yellow zone. This means we're not doing dungeons. We're not going into the mists. There's a whole lot of things that we're not going to be doing. These are the 3 steps to success right here. Now, I just want to mention that, again, this is a brand new character on our very first day. We're already more powerful than new players and even somewhat experienced players in their first month. I'm not joking. I am not kidding. Go on Twitch, look at people with 1 to 2 to 5 viewers, and look how behind they will be on gear, okay? We are in 5.3. Our item power is nearly, well, it's not quite 1,200, but we're getting close. We will get there when we level up our weapons in here in just a bit. But essentially, we're pretty strong. We can hold our own in a PvP fight at this point if it comes down to it. But because we're doing this in blue and yellow zones, we won't ever lose our gear. Now, at this point, if we do suffer a repair bill, it will cost us a little bit, but it's nothing that we can't afford. And we have our gathering gear in the stash, allowing us to easily make that silver back. And, you know, even though the gear might be semi-busted up, it still functions just fine as long as it's in the green. So, again, I'm just writing out 3 zones away so I can show you how to open world fame farm. So, here we are in the bottom right corner. You can see that we are in a yellow zone. When we click on a mob, we see that it is a tier 5 mob. All you're going to do, also, there is a Bridge Watch faction here. So if you wanted to take a break and follow this blob, this is called a blob, by the way. This is a group of Bridgewatch faction flag players. You can follow them around, earn some faction points, and that is just a good of a way to fame up as farming open world mobs, especially on the fresh launch EU server. If you are getting in on that early, this is an amazing and fun and great way. You can help people out in a fight, but do try not to get downed, okay? And don't follow them into a red zone. But it's like a huge group of players, just follow them around, you'll capture outposts, and you're going to earn a bunch of these little faction points here. So, to fame farm mobs, all you have to do is run past them on your mount, you know, dismount, cast your Q twice, cast your laser beam here, and that should pretty much finish them off. You're strong enough to melt these guys, and look at how much fame each of these are giving us. Look at how much silver they're dropping. This one dropped an item. They also give faction points. So, again, you're just going to ride around the zone and just clear enemy mobs. Now, if you see a wisp here, you could go in... This one's epic. You could go into this, but you're going to get bullied by other players in PvP combat. It's not as good of a fame farm or a silver maker as what we're currently doing. I don't suggest you do it, but if that says epic or legendary, it might be worth taking. Now, for the sake of the video, I'm not going to take it, but when you do go into one of those mists, you do lose your faction flag. Also, these are corrupted dungeons. Do not bother doing these. They are a waste of time currently at your power and experience level. Also, you'll see random mobs that are like animals or rocks or whatever. You want to not really bother killing these because these don't really give that much fame. I'll go ahead and kill this one just so you can see, and it only gave 182 fame. But if I kill this guy, right? And remember, we deal a lot more damage now, and we can tank a lot more hits. This guy gives 3,825. So it's definitely worth killing the big guys, the humanoids. Those are the ones that you want to go for in the tier 5 yellow zones. They will always be these types of creatures, at least in the safe zones. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make another YouTube video, and I'm going to record my data for 30 minutes, and then I'm going to tell you how long it will take in order for you to get to 100 mastery. And also, this is mastery. At 100 mastery, you can equip the tier 8 equipment. You have all the spells unlocked. And then at 100 specialization, that's when you have almost full power on the weapon. From level 100 to 120 is an entirely different system, which we won't really be covering, and I don't recommend you do it until you're very wealthy. But after 100 specialization is when you can move on and level these other weapons up. And once they're all level 100, you are very powerful and a scary person to deal with. And I'm going to also go over why we're using a curse staff over any other weapon line in the game. I'm just going to do that right now before I record that video. Okay, so this is a legendary mist. Okay, dude, you have to take these if you see them. They're so rare. They're so incredibly rare. I have not seen one of these in 2 months. I am not joking. In here in the legendary mist, if a player knocks you down, you get kicked out. So do everything you can to not get knocked out. But if you see one of these, there's so much you can do. The enemy mobs give very good fame. This is a tier 7 mob, but we're still in a safe zone. It's a yellow zone. This is the only time mobs will be higher than level tier 5 in a safe zone. And these mobs they're harder to kill, but your gear will carry you the full way through. So kill and clear mobs, and mobs guarding one of these things don't give as much fame. 7,300 is still quite a lot. But you're going to rescue one of these little boxes here, and that's going to give you reputation towards a hidden city called Brazilian. Alright, so you want to free these wisps. Also, there are big camps on the map here that you can do, and by clearing the camp, you will receive reputation. Once you hit a certain amount of reputation, I think it's 50,000, you can check on your stats page by scrolling down, and you will see Brazilian standing neutral. So you need 50,000, and then you can go to the hidden city in the mists. Now, you see this little orange cloud here that's kind of on the ground? By passing this line enables you for PvP combat. That means other players who are more geared than you will be able to beat you up and kick you out of here. So it's very important that you stay safe and you know, try not to die. You don't die. You just get knocked down and then kicked out. Also, yes, these mobs are really they knocked me so far away that they unleashed themselves. So again, I'm gonna farm this mist and I'll clip whatever interesting stuff I find. But I do want to show you, like, this is an enchanted mob right here, and so when we kill him, it's going to give us a bunch of fame. So let's throw 2 curses, an explosion, and try not to get knocked back by the arrows this time. There we go. And go ahead and activate our lightning thing here. Now, an enemy player can walk into our area of effect attacks and unsummon our mount, so that's something to be careful about. But, yeah, it's not the best fame, but by killing creatures within this camp, we are completing over here on the right side the heretic camp thing here. So every time I kill creatures, this bar will fill up, and when the bar is completely filled, there will be a chest in the middle that you can loot that might sometimes have treasure, other times it will have fame tomes. So these are worth doing if you find an epic or a legendary, but if they are not epic or legendary, skip them. Don't worry about it. Now, I will have to go back to town to re-faction flag up. As you... Come on, it's doing it again, where they knock me all the way back. They held me down. Anyway, I'm going to clear the camp and show you. Now, a few safety precautions. You always want your mount around. You always want your mount around. See, there's an enemy player up here. Let's see what he's got. So he's more geared than me. This guy's very juiced. So I'm going to just walk away. I'm not going to fight him. I think I could take him. I'm skilled enough to take him, but as a new player, you are not skilled. Even with your gear, don't fight anybody. The crypt candle makes you kind of squishy against other players at this part in the game. So just run away and keep your mount nearby and just kill the mobs. And if you see another player's name at all anywhere on your screen, just leave. Just mount up and walk away, come back later. That's all there is to it. Now, be careful if you want to be the aggressor like this guy here. If I dismount next to him, I will have a 5-second cooldown on all of my abilities. You can't just dismount next to someone and beat them up. But there is a way around that. If you have the enemies hurt your mount and kill your mount, you can then attack them immediately, because the game doesn't know. But, you know, it's up to you how you want to play it. I'm just giving you some little PvP tips and tricks here. And that boltcaster guy that we saw earlier, he's around, so I've got to stay on my tippy toes. I don't want to sacrifice my mount to beat up a player only to get beat up by another player. So you got to play it a little bit smart. Another thing too, I just want to point out that I don't have the Reaver to technically be in here yet. I would need to learn this Grandmaster Reaver so that tier 7 creatures aren't as dangerous. But because we're very geared, I can still technically do it anyway. It's just that they're hitting me way harder than they normally would a regular player. So we completed the camp finally. Now it's green, there's a check mark in the middle. And I received 67,000 fame for completing that objective. And 5,000 reputation. So again, legendaries really do pay off. Now, in the middle, there will be a chest, and you can aggro the enemies if you want, because what we can do to de-aggro them is just mount, and then dismount and remount, and then we can grab this little chest here. Just make sure we don't aggro any enemies, and then loot the chest here in the middle. They're always in the middle of the camp, and they might have good treasure. This has 256,000 silver. That's huge, 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 huge. That's why we do the legendaries. And yes, that you normally do not get that many. That is an insanely lucky break, and that's why a lot of people like to say, oh, well, I like to do this activity, I like to do that activity, because they get these lucky breaks. These are called jackpots, all right? I can't talk. With a jackpot, you you earn a huge amount of silver. Look at this. We have a 6.2 helmet here, a 6.1 crossbow. Like, those are big. You normally won't get these items or as often, but we got pretty lucky, which is going to go towards just upgrading our gear, and these things happen, and they feel good, and it's what keeps players playing. Now, let's talk about a few other things on the Mist map here real quick. We have this one. This is an unstable road. This will send you anywhere in the game world. Anywhere, including full loot danger zones. Don't ever take this, ever. Never, ever, ever walk into this. Unless you have a lot of money and some gear you're willing to lose, because this can just teleport you anywhere. You don't know where this is going to put you. Next up, we have this thing. This is called a turbulent mist, and this is going to put a little wisp out on the ground that you have to escort across the map to rescue. Now, this is clearly shown on the map, but when a player picks it up, they will no longer be visible. And you can get a lot of reputation by turning these in. Looks like someone just grabbed it. So the only way to grab it now is to flag up for PvP. And to do that, you click this little circle to flag up. And then you would have to beat them up and take their wisp from them, which I'm not going to do. It's really not that much reputation anyway. But it's something you can do if you want to. Now, mists do not last forever, and they do eventually close. This one will be closing in 4 minutes. So if there's anything here you want to kill or farm or wrap up, you gotta do it quick, because when the mist closes, it just simply kicks you out. And if you want to know how to leave the mist, you just go to any of these corners, and you'll be put right back into where you once started. So, again, I recommend that you just farm the mobs, especially glowing ones like this, because if they are not in a camp and they're not guarding one of those reputation wisp boxes, they give pretty decent fame, especially if you're in a legendary mist, like I am. So, again, just give it your all. You should be able to smash these, no problem. Use all your abilities if you need to. And, you know, just give it your all. You should be able to take these out, no problem. And here's how much fame this one gives. 13,281. Not bad. Pretty good 3,800 silver on drop. Pretty good stuff. So you can just ride around and farm these up and fame these up if you want to. And, again, I recommend opening these boxes so that you can unlock the Brazilian, the Mist City. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to farm 30 minutes of open world tier 5 yellow zone mobs after I go teleport back home and refaction flag up, and I'm going to share with you the results. Oh, of course, I did promise some tier lists before I do that, so let me whip that up real quick. And again, these aren't exact. This is just something I'm whipping up really quick for you. So for solo dungeons, which is legacy content, which you should not do unless you're bored, light crossbow is king, witchwork has movement and clear, one-handed dagger has movement and clear, nature staff has clear speed and sustain, shadow collar, this is future us, as DPS and sustain, fist weapons have movement, but low burst and low DPS, fire staffs have medium movement and medium DPS. For corrupted dungeons, the bear paws, I hold the world record for the fastest clear speed in the entire game. Curse Staff is number 2, Light Crossbows 3, Dagger 4, Fire Staff 5, Battle Axe 6. For soloing group dungeons and statics, it's very precise and exact on what gear you want to use, but the Shadow Collar is de facto number 1 for clearing statics. It has the highest DPS and the highest sustain when you group several enemies together at once. The Battle Axe is not even a close second. It's like a far second. Spirit Hunter has the clear speed, but no sustain, so you better make your shots aim true or you're dead. Light Crossbow has very high and bursty DPS, no sustain. Great Axe is a little more defensive, it's a lot slower, like from rank 4 to rank 5, much slower. One-handed Dagger has a little bit of sustain, but it's mostly a single target weapon used to burn down certain bosses in group dungeons. That's why I'm mentioning it here. Nature is required to kill certain bosses in group dungeons. So what I personally do is I run Shadow Collar for group dungeons and statics, and I swap to Nature later on. You don't need spec for Nature, you just need 100 mastery. And then Holy can also kind of do it, but it's the slowest. Not many other weapons can really do solo group dungeons effectively, or there's no point to use them. I mean, you technically could, but you're just being too slow and inefficient. So, Mist PvP rating. I showed you the Mists earlier. Well, when you go to the full loot version of the Mists, there are 2 weapons that are to be feared by the majority, and that is the Curse Staff, which is what we're using. I forgot to put it in parentheses. And the reason why is it is like a 4.1 Curse Staff when you have maximum specialization, can execute and kill anyone regardless of their gear if you catch them at a bad time. So you just ride around on your mount, and then when someone's low on HP, you dismount, you run at them, you curse them, and it's free loot. I've made videos on this. It's the most hated thing in the entire game to do this, but it is so profitable, and I think it's so fun. But people will, like, they will chastise you heavily for it. The second weapon is the Wildfire Staff. The reason why is your E-Spell does a % max HP, so it allows you to punch up against melees, but not much else. It's also not really an execute weapon. For solo dismounting, there's only really 2 weapons that you can use these days. I mean, there are others, but they're way harder to use and not nearly as efficient. Number 1 is Bear Paws, and number 2 is Permafrost. Permafrost is only number 2 because it's simply just harder to land your hits. It's a skill shot, whereas Bear Paws is a frontal cleave. So Bear Paws is just easier, it has slightly more reach, slightly more damage, easier to use, no reason why it isn't number... that's why it's number 1. Number 2 is Permafrost. There's really not a lot much else you can solo dismount people with. Blue policing is the act of going into a red zone and attacking anyone that is PvP flagged up with a horde of other players looking to score some easy loot. Gankers hate blue police, but essentially crossbow is the number 1 because you can just snipe someone for massive damage from range. The second one is Curse Staff because it's really hard to shrug off or ignore the Curse stacks and the explosion unless the ganker builds defensively, which they're not a ganker if they are. And finally, Dagger Pair because you can deliver an insanely high amount of damage near instantaneously with a bleed effect. Hardcore Expedition is like the hardest PvE kind of 5-man raid dungeon kind of things. Every group has a Shadow Caller for Shred and for Sustain and for AoE DPS. Mace is your tank, Holy is your healer, and Light Crossbow are your second and third DPS, essentially. So ZVZ, Zerg vs. Zerg guild crap, there's always a life curse, multiple ones, there's always a damnation. Both of these are curse staff weapon lines. Then you have the mace for the tanks, the gloves for the burst, the swords for the burst, axes for the burst, Holy in nature for your healers. There's other stuff, but essentially you can see that every single guild needs life curse and damnation users. Hellgates will always want a cursed skull no matter what. It's a huge damage boost. You're shredding everybody, you're dotting up everybody, damage over timing everybody. It's insane, and every single Hellgate team wants them. And there's some other content in the game, but you get the point. Almost every single thing has curse staff in it. The reason why I'm having you build the curse staff is as follows. So why the Warlock tree? Okay, so it unlocks the potential to fame farm faster than anyone else in the game. By soloing Tier 4 Blue Zone Statics, you can farm 20 million fame per hour, which means in 2 hours you can get 100 mastery, 100 specialization on any weapon in the game. It's really that simple. It's insanely fun and cheap for PvP. It is not an expensive weapon line, except for the Shadow Caller. The Shadow Caller is a little pricey. It's wanted in all group content and all solo content. It's cheap to use, again, except the Shadow Caller. The Shadow Caller is a bit of an investment. It is one you will absolutely want to make very soon. It's easy to use. They're insanely easy to use. They're fire and forget. All the weapons are just really busted. And it sets you up for a profitable and fun future. It really does. So this is why I recommend that everyone starting on a brand new character, on a brand new account, goes the Warlock tree. With that said, I'm going to now film a YouTube video about fame farming here in the Tier 5 Yellow Zone open world mobs. Now, it is Roam the Open World Day. By the way, you can click this activities button and go to activities. Every day or two, there is new activities. This one is a plus 20% fame from open world mobs, and I'm 3 zones away. That's a plus 15%. And I have premium. That's a plus 50%. We're just stacking all the bonuses here. So let's see how much fame we can farm. Here is the results of the fame farm session and about how long it's going to take you to get to 100 mastery. And if you are interested, which you don't have to do right now, but if you wanted, how long it will take you to get to level 100 specialization. Which, let me remind you that you level up your mastery and your specialization at the same time. All you really need to worry about right now at this step in your progress is getting to level 100 mastery. And anytime that you are low on funds, anytime you need silver, or anytime you have a bunch of learning points, that is when you should be out skinning and gathering. But whenever you are waiting on learning points and whenever you're bored and you have plenty of silver, you should be fame farming. That's what that's what your goal is. That is what your job is as a new player right now. Also, I just want to mention those numbers do not factor in bonus fame such as tome drops from mobs, or the faction points that we've been earning by being faction flagged. So right now, I have 11,238 faction points. I can buy one of these chests for 9,000 and take a look. Right now, my estimated market value in my inventory, 45,000 silver. By opening this chest, now it's at 119,000. And I got 2 of these yellow tomes. These are worth 100,000 combat fame each. So that will help you level up even faster. And yeah, some nice silver bags there and just things to vendor. We have plenty of silver. Also, if you're wondering, should you use or sell the Tomes of Insight? And almost always you should sell them. The only time you should not sell them is if the value is under 11,000, which hasn't happened in a very long time on any of the servers. But yeah, these things, they usually go from around 13 to 15,000 silver, so you should definitely sell them. They are worth more to you currently as a new player by, you know, turning them into silver rather than experience. Also, by doing the open world fame farming, you are picking up and collecting silver, which is around 120,000 per hour or so, and that's without factoring in any of the drops. So it's okay for silver. Time for more goals. Now, this is day 2 or day 3 if you're casual, or week 1 if you're extremely casual and you're only playing like 20-30 minutes a day. So your goal is to get to 100 mastery in the Warlock tree, the leather armor, the cloth helmet, the plate boots, all of those trees, which you are leveling all at the exact same time. Whenever you get 10,000 fame, it doesn't split it between everything, it applies it to everything. So all of these should be level 100 mastery at the exact same time. Next up, you also, while you're doing this, you want to upgrade your mount, because riding a horse sucks. I recommend a direwolf or a saddled mystic owl if those are available. Those will give you a higher travel speed, the mystic owl being faster, but probably more expensive at this point. The saddled wild boar is good enough currently for gathering. You really don't need to upgrade that for quite a while. Now, if you're on the European server, it's very important that you have enough silver to always buy these mounts the month they come out. So, the servers will be starting in late April. This means you have a very limited time to get a Black Panther. If you do not buy a Black Panther in April, you have to wait until next year, next April, for these to become available again. So, you want to buy them now, wait 3 to 6 months, and then sell them for a huge, huge, huge markup. So here's the other mounts. The Black Panther, the Gallant Horse in June, the Spectral Dire Boar in July, the Pest Lizard in November, the Snow Husky in December, and the Grizzly Bear in March. I highly recommend that you get a Black Panther for yourself to keep always. Super really useful and good. Gallant Horse if you want to do full loot PvP gathering. Spectral Dire Boar is really, really nice and just to have, even in safe zones. The Pest Lizard is really nice to have in safe zones. The Snow Husky is the fastest mount in the game, so make sure you get a few of these. One to sell, one to always keep. And the Grizzly Bear is one of the best mounts in the game for transporting in dangerous zones. It's also really good for faction heart transports, which you should never do. We might talk about that later. But the Grizzly Bear is the de facto mount that you want to buy a bunch of and then sell 3 to 6 months later. It will sell the most because everyone doing full loot stuff, everyone doing black zone stuff will want or need a Grizzly Bear. It is the de facto best and safest mount for running transports, bar none. So make sure you stock up on them as early as you can. Their price will only increase, but after 2 to 3 years, the price will normalize due to the cycle of mounts once a year. Your alternate goals for your gathering lifestyle is to push tier 6 skinning, and if you can really no-life it, you can push to tier 7, and if you really no-life it, then you could get to tier 8 in the first week or so. Now, at these tier ups, you want to be getting Avalonian skinning knives because that will increase how fast you level up and how much yield you receive. Now, whenever you tier up and replace your old one, you want to sell the old one. You don't want to hold on to it. There's no reason to keep it. And when you have a very nice bankroll, you don't have to sell your hides immediately. You can save them for a bonus day. So what is a bonus day? So when you go at the top of your window here, you can click on this button and click on activities. And let me remove the text here. Sometimes, right here on the daily production bonus, you can get a 10 or a 20% hide day. So what that means is that you can refine with a 20% bonus. So what this also means is that you can take your hide using a transport mount, and then go all the way to Martlock here. And at this point, there will be player-made tanneries, and you want to find a cheap one. And you want to refine your Tier 2 hide. Well, it doesn't matter if it's cheap or not. You want to refine all of your Tier 2 hide into leather, because refining Tier 2 hide is free. And you have to do the math to make sure it's worth it, but essentially, you'll refine it at Martlock, and then you'll most likely either transport it back to Bridgewatch, or transport it to Limhurst and sell it for a huge markup. This is basic flipping. Do you want to farm silver even faster than before? Well, have I got a deal for you. You can become a channel member, and I'm going to show you what that is and how to access it, and it's pretty simple. So on all of my videos, all you have to do is scroll down right under the video. There is a join button. You'll click the join button, and for $4.99 a month, you will get access to private, more personal videos, videos that are too good for the general public, and I'm going to give you some samples of these videos to show you how much they are worth it. And again, these videos are too good to share publicly, and if I did, then everyone would do it and no one would profit, but let me show you. So here are my members-only videos, and I'm going to talk about a little bit about what they are. So members get a cool thing where they get to see all of my videos days or even weeks before they become live. This video is one that I made just a bit ago, 43 minutes ago to be exact, about a new character fame farming. So that's just what that is. And since I already put out a video today, then this is scheduled for tomorrow. Members get to see it early before everyone else. That's one of the perks. The other ones are members-specific videos like this. How to turn your silver into more silver. This is an 18-minute video that will teach you how to just take 1 million silver and make it into 2 million silver or possibly 4 million silver. Most likely 2 to 3 million silver per 1 million. So if you have 100 million silver, then you can easily turn that into 200 million silver. I'm not even joking. It's insane how good this method is, and it's so good that if I put it out publicly, it would ruin the servers. I can't have that happen. So here's a video. This one's just a fun video. How to have fun at other players' expenses. This video is a little too cruel to release to the general public, and the mechanics I didn't want to get nerfed, so I'm not releasing it publicly. Here's one about mist camps, and I'm pretty sure that this one's not really the biggest kind of thing, but if the general public knew, they might cry for nerfs, so that's why it's members only. This one is the optimal way to do tracking in Albion Online. This was 5 months ago. It's still relevant. The reason why is that tracking is a huge moneymaker, and if I put this out publicly, then everyone's going to do it, and it's going to tank the economy, so that's why I'm not doing it. This one was a silver opportunity that only worked before this date. After this date, this silver making method no longer worked, and the people that took advantage of this, they talked to me about it, because again, it's a 5-month-old video. They told me that they made like $500 million off of this. Like, it's insane how much silver they made. I'm not even joking. So this is just, sometimes I scrap videos, and this is a scrap video. Here's just a channel update for members. Here's a Palia video that's an alternate. Here is free silver from crafting that anyone can do without focus or premium. And again, this is a huge money maker that anyone can do. All you need is time. Now here's the best flips in the game. I took all the best flips in the game that you don't even need other players to do. These are flips that you can do to a vendor, all right, to the repair bench, and make instant money. Like, if you need instantaneous money, you need 200K, you need 2 mil, 3 mil. You watch this video. I have everything neat and outlined on a list. Like, this one is huge. This is one of my favorite members only videos because it's just free money. It's free money, and if I made this video public, then people will just do this and no one can do it. So again, this is a silver making opportunity in the month of July. So this one's already passed. Here is a video that sums up all my members' videos so far. This is unused footage I didn't make a video about. How to dismount a mammoth with 3 people. Do you know how much a mammoth is worth in this game? 160 million. How can you dismount it with 3 people? Well, that's a secret that only my members get. So here is a secret faction and heart transport techniques. This one is kind of scummy. If people learn how to do these things, it would be really bad for the general public. This is just a Minecraft Legends video. Amazing silver and fame farm that no one will be doing. Now, this one was made before the launch of the East Asia server, and this one is huge. That's why I'm not including it in this video, because it's still a members-only secret. So you can click on this and apply this to the EU servers, and boy, oh boy, you're going to be way ahead of other players. Here's the best one-shot builds, even at low item power. Very, very useful there. the best group dungeons to solo for fame and profit. So a lot of people, you know, they want to do something that makes good fame and good silver. This video will teach you what specifically to look for and how to find it. And it's not just doing group dungeons. It's way deeper than that, okay? So, let's see. This is just inconclusive results here. This is just a fun members vid. Theory crafting DPS with the new Morgana cape changes 10 months ago. Don't worry about that. Huge silver opportunity in the next 3 months. Every time there's like a patch or something, there is silver opportunities to be made, and that's why I'm letting members know. Of course, this one already passed. This is just me dumpstering an indie game. This is 1.6 million fame per hour and 700,000 silver on a new character on the Albion East server. All right, and again, right now we can see in this current video, I'm showing you how to make around 1 million fame per hour and around 200k silver per hour rounded up. This is 1.6 million fame and 700,000 silver per hour. So again, members get the juicy stuff. You guys don't. Okay, this is a dupe method for Diablo 4. I don't think this works anymore. Don't worry. Diablo 4 sucks. All right, so I crafted all the food 11 months ago, and I did the math because I'm going to talk more about chef stuff later. But again, every once in a while, I've got to do the math for my members. Here's how to get my Discord server. You know, I do lots of giveaways in my Discord server if I had people to give away stuff too. Here's a 3 million silver per hour method. Now, I don't know if this will work immediately on Europe, but it sometimes works on West. I haven't tried it on East. Here is advanced market flipping techniques. Now, this is advanced stuff. This is really advanced stuff. It's a little too complicated for the public, and that's why I made it members only. The most profitable thing in Albion Online is giveaways. That's right. This will teach you how to have hundreds of Twitch accounts to win free premium for life. And there's a reason this one's not public. It would just piss everyone off. So how to get rich on the Asia server a year ago. How to solo the Limhurst faction boss. There is a secret method. Now, this one's not something you really need as a new player. Here's the best things to invest and sell during Fame Week. Now, a Fame Week is when the company gives you a bonus to your experience gain. And they do it on certain holidays and certain events. So there is certain things that you can buy and sell during these events that will make you an instantly rich player, so rich and wealthy you'll never have to gather again. It's a members only. That's why it's members only. Here's how to get free stuff from Reddit. This has nothing to do with video games. This is just free video games and free couches and food. You can really get a lot of free shit from Reddit. Here's the way to determine the most profitable time to play Albion Online. This one might need a rework. This one might be outdated because they've split the servers 3 times now. How to double your gathering income. This one's probably fixed. Always pay attention to global discount. Here's why. This is a huge money-making opportunity. This probably won't be useful for another 5 years. I'm going to be real. Here is Tinkerer journals and profit information. Just raw data. My favorite builds for mists. Raw data there. Advanced skinning guide. This will teach you the best possible weapon for skinning and all the advanced techniques that I'm not showing you in this video or any of my public videos. And then here is how to auto-attack one-shot skinnable mobs. I talked about that a little bit earlier. And then here's me trolling Reddit, and I love trolling Reddit so much. Alright, new patch, new market opportunity. 1 year ago. This one's probably not relevant. 500,000 or more silver method. This one is really, really quick and easy, and it's something that you can do as a brand new character right now. Alright, but it's members only. You gotta pay that fee. You gotta, like, come on, bro. Listen, a lot of YouTubers, they fill their videos with a bunch of garbage VPNs and stupid services that no one cares about. I don't do that. But I do rely on people to become channel members for these juicy secrets. Anyway, there's a bunch of other stuff. I'm not gonna go over every single video, but it's just really fun. You should only do this if you want to support me, please. Don't do it out of greed. That's just a disclaimer. But back to the guide. I want to talk about zone differences real quick. So the blue zone and the yellow zone is what you've been playing in. So blue zones, you can't attack or be attacked by other players. Of course, the exception is if you faction flag. Factions can always fight each other in all zones, but unless you are in a red zone, it is not full loot, you will not die. In a yellow zone, you can flag up to attack other players, but you cannot attack a faction flagged player when you are PvP flagged. Also, you cannot die in the yellow zone, but you will be downed where you are kneeling on the ground, unable to play the game for 3 entire minutes, and you will suffer a 5% durability loss on everything you have equipped and in your inventory. Red zone, players must flag up to attack others and you or they can be killed. It's full loot in the red zone. You will drop everything in your inventory and what you have equipped, but you do not drop silver. The black zone, all players are flagged up all the time. You can die and you can be killed. There is no flagging up. Everyone is just, by default, hostile. Also, there are road portals, mists, and stuff like that. But let's go over the blue zones. The blue zone is this, like, you have Tutorial Island, then you have Step Cross. This is where you started. The zones surrounding town, except for one of the exits, are all blue zones. Then you have the yellow zones. These are tier 5 zones. And connected to the yellow zones are the red zones. These are tier 6 and tier 7 zones. Black zones, you have to take a portal in the cities, which will transport you to a whole nother continent, all the way up here. And these are tier 5 through tier 8 zones. These are black zones. And of course, in, you know, just random parts of the map, you will have, I'll have to show you by going out into the map. But there are the Roads of Avalon. These are portals on every map that are randomly switched and connected and changed every so often. Every day is a different adventure in the Roads of Avalon. Right here, this is a Road of Avalon to something called Oasis Iridom, or whatever. I can't even say that name. But essentially, going in here is a full loot black zone, by the way. And here's another Avalonian portal. And yeah, so these things are mostly for small groups of players, and guilds kind of camp them, and gankers camp them. It's really not advised to ever go there. So, the next thing is when you enter a mist from a yellow zone, those are safe, those are yellow zone mists. If you enter a mist from a red zone or a black zone, those are full loot mists. Corrupted dungeons, when entered from a yellow zone, are safe. If you enter a corrupted dungeon from a red or a black zone, with the proper item power, those are called Stalker and Slayer corrupted dungeons. Those are also full loot. Now, let's talk about Focus. Focus is a premium-only kind of, not really currency, it's more like something that your character can store and allocate to things. So, because you're a new character and you have the 3 days of premium, you will accumulate 30,000 Focus over the next 3 days. Well, this character's been playing for about 6 hours or so. 5 of those hours, he's generated 3,498 Focus. So when you go to craft, you can spend that Focus to gain a bonus to your crafting so that you will return some of the resources. So for instance, if I go here to the Warrior's Forge and I want to craft a sword, which you shouldn't craft from this bench. They're charging 9,999. What a ripoff. Okay, so is that one. That one's not, though. That one's only charging 840. But the point is that if you want to craft a sword, you will receive like 15% of your resources back. So if you need 10 metal to craft a sword, you would get 15% of that back, so 1 to 2 metal bars. Obviously, these aren't real numbers, but you get the idea. Certain cities have certain percentages where you gain bonus crafting. So for instance, here in Bridgewatch, stone is the refining bonus of the city. You also get some crafting bonuses like raw goat, crossbows, daggers, cursed staff plate armor. You get a 15% bonus to those. And then you have your daily bonus activities, which is right now hammers and war gloves. So what you want to do is you want to stack the city's bonus and the daily bonus to really maximize your profits. But by spending Focus, you can get like an additional 30 to 40% crafting bonus. I don't know the exact numbers. I don't really Focus craft much anymore. But depending on how good you are at crafting and how high leveled your crafting is, you will spend less Focus for the same bonus. Now, Focus can also be used to help grow crops. And what you do is you would spend Focus to water crops, which will always guarantee a seed return and bonus yield to the crops and stuff like that, I believe. I'm pretty sure. But essentially, you want to use your Focus on something. Now, Focus will cap out at 30,000. What this means is that you want to spend this Focus before it reaches 30,000. If you become a channel member, I have several videos on how you can spend this Focus as a new player or an experienced player in the most efficient way possible without being a career crafter. But for everyone else, what you want to do is you want to spend this Focus on just something that you can just do. So what I recommend that you do as a new player, especially on a new server, is find out what the crafting bonus is, raw goat. So you want to buy some goats at some point, and then you want to go and spend your Focus at the butcher, butchering goats for goat meat. that works. You can also go to the furniture crafter here at the Tinkerers, the tool makers, and craft some furniture, because furniture will be in insanely high demand on the new EU server. These do not require, like, butchering goats is something you're going to want to do anyway, because you really want to level cooking and chefery. You want your chef levels to be high. I'll talk about this later towards the end of the video when we talk about long-term investing and making passive silver. But being a furniture crafter, there is no leveling furniture crafting. This is something that by default anyone can do at any time. So again, because it's going to be in such high demand on EU, that's where I recommend that you spend your focus. And all you have to do is just buy the wood and materials and metal off the market, and then craft it into furniture. Using focus, you're going to make a profit, sell the furniture and the remaining materials back to the market, and you want to do that because that's just free money. Focus is free silver, okay? With my max level chef, without even trying, with zero effort, I can make 2 to 5 million silver per day. That is 2 to 5 million silver in under 15 minutes per 10,000 focus. Now that's a max level chef, okay? Now if I really wanted to go min-max and go full math mode, spreadsheet mode, I could make 300 million a month being a chef. 300 million a month, but I would be playing 6 to 8 hours a day transporting items from one town to another. It's not worth my time. I don't really care that much about silver at the end of the day. I like it quick and easy, and I'd rather spend time playing the game than doing a spreadsheet simulator, honestly. Now I want to talk about content that is not efficient for you to do as a new player. So the first one is solo dungeons. Back in the day, this was the only way to fame farm, and this is old legacy content. It has been nerfed into the ground. It is 6 times less efficient to do this than farming open world mobs. Also, there is trash loot from the chest. It has been nerfed to oblivion. Go back in time 4 years. This thing made 2 to 3 million per hour for new players. Now it makes 400,000 if you have the best possible gear and you're speedrunning it. As a new player, you're not speedrunning it. You don't have the best possible gear. You're not making 400,000 per hour, which is a garbage amount anyway. Just go gather instead. The next one is Corrupted Dungeons. This is also legacy content. It has been nerfed into the ground as well. The fame you get is way better in open world anyway. It's a time sink. It's been meted to death for years. If you have a lot of experience in 1v1 PvP playing the meta for Corrupted Dungeons, then it can be a little bit fun, but it is not profitable. It is only there for people to chase rank. That is literally it. It sucks. It's stressful. It is annoying. If you want to fight one guy for 15 minutes while he runs away and resets his health until both of you get these little bat creatures that lower your maximum percent HP, until eventually you can one-shot the other guy before he one-shots you, have fun. Go play Corrupted Dungeons. Corrupted Dungeons do not make you silver. They do not make you fame. They suck end of. The next content is Yellow Zone Mists. Now, Yellow Zone Mists, as a new player, are not worth doing. As an experienced and geared and max level player, they're pretty damn fun because you get to bully new players. But the low fame per hour, the crappy rewards, the constant danger of 8.4 players, which you're going to see on Europe by the first week. By the first week, there will be players in there just trolling and dunking all over other people. That is where us players go to satiate our sadism. We go into Yellow Zone Mist and we just smash people's heads in. That is what we do for fun in this game. And you will be a victim unless you are an 8.4 geared player with maximum spec. Next up is CTA guilds. This is Call to Arms guilds. This means when you are sitting in a Discord server and someone's like, guys, log in, we have to defend the hideout. Guys, log in, we have to take the castle. Guys, log in, there's a mammoth spawn. These things will drain your silver unless you can find a nice guild where you're part of the inner circle and you know the guild leader personally and they will always re-gear you because they're a credit card swiping sugar daddy. This is a loss in silver. You will bleed silver in these guilds, and they're not that fun. They're stressful. They take all your free time. It really sucks to be at a CTA guild. Take it from me. I did one for 2 months. I can't stand it. Now, this is a personal take. I do not really fit in with crowds. I do not mesh well with people. I am kind of a weirdo, kind of a schizo, kind of a freak of nature, so to speak. So a lot of people find me offensive. They find me crazy. They find me intolerable to be around. So maybe it's just me, but CTA guilds, avoid them, please. Solo ganking is also not advised because solo ganking involves having to run and avoid hackers. That is people that use speed hacks, people that use radar and what is it? EFT, EMT? I forget what it's called. But it's a hack that basically shows them a radar of where your position is off their screen. They have teams, they have scouts. So a scout is a bunch of phones or GeForce Now accounts hooked up where they have tons of these naked level 1 characters on Oxes to see where anyone and everyone is moving in full loot zones, and then when they see you, they will just swarm you down with 10 to 20 people and kill you, and there is no escape, and you're just screwed. You're just absolutely screwed. The next one is Faction Heart Transports. Never do this. They only exist in the game as a stop means to generate currency for people who aren't in opposite factions. That's the only reason they exist. This is multi-box to hell, which multi-boxing is against the terms of service. It is considered cheating, and it is not good silver per hour to do. But even if you did decide to do it and you don't have a bear, you are at a huge risk when doing Faction Heart Transports. One guy can solo dismount you, take your hearts, and he has no risk, but you have all the risk. The silver per hour sucks, so you should never do this. Next up is Red and Black Zone Gathering. Now, I will say, you can get lucky when doing Red and Black Zone Gathering. You can get absolutely lucky, but even if you're in a guild, even if you're protected by the territory and hideout, you will not make good and consistent silver per hour. Most of these zones are picked clean by hackers. They're picked clean systematically by life-dedicated gatherers. The respawn rates are insanely long for the good nodes. It is not worth your time to make consistent silver. It's a huge risk just to transport the damn stuff back to the royal cities. You should absolutely avoid this. Continuing, we have Black Zone Mists. So here's the problem with Black Zone Mists. Until you have maximum spec of 120 in everything you're wearing, unless you're using a high mobility gank build such as Bloodletter or Double Bladed Staff, you are absolutely at the mercy of everyone that uses these builds, and even then, you will have a bad beat where you get swarmed down by Cursed Staff Rats. Now, let me tell you something. Would you rather be the guy that risks 200 million in gear and dies to some guy that risks 13,000 in silver for gear? I am training you to be the rat that consumes these guys and kills them. I am not training you to be the guy that card swipes 100 real-life dollars to buy 8.4 sets and run around and stomp on people for meager rewards. Next up is Arena. Unless you have a pre-made team, Arena's rewards suck. Arena might be fun, I guess, but it's not something you should actively do for any sort of actual reward. Even at the higher, like, you're not going to climb the highest ranks as a solo. You simply aren't. You're going to fight pre-made after pre-made after pre-made once you start climbing the ranks, and you will never get anywhere. You will spin the wheels in the mud. I don't care how good you are. I have a 75% win-loss ratio in Arena as a solo player, and even I cannot rank up because I just hit pre-made after pre-made, and I don't have my own pre-made to, raffle stomp random groups. Next up is Portal Expeditions. These are more of a newbie activity. There are these random little portals that you see the Expedition Master here. I am not talking about hardcore expeditions. I am simply talking about portal expeditions. The solo ones and the crappy group ones. Don't ever do these. The rewards suck. There is no reason to do these. They are a waste of time. Just go gather, sell the gathering material, and buy the royal sigils if you are a crafter. Speaking of crafting, gear crafting. Unless you are in a black zone hideout guild specifically built for being a crafting guild, you are spinning the wheels. You are not going to craft at a profit. It is an insane amount of spreadsheet and math work to even consider profit. There are a few things you can do to profit every once in a while, but like looking at today's activities, there's no profit to be made today. So just don't worry about crafting too much unless you are a credit card warrior or you're in a crafting guild. Next up is transporting to Caerleon. Caerleon is surrounded by red zones. It is the 6th city in the middle here, and Caerleon has a black market. And so lots of people like to transport to Caerleon, but gankers are insanely sophisticated people. They have the scouts, they have the radar hacks, they have the friends. They are always on the lookout, and they know if you are carrying juicy items or not, and they will kill you. The small amount of profit that you're going to make transporting to and from Caerleon is not worth the risk, especially on Asia, especially on the Europe servers. On West, it's almost systematically defended at this point, but it's really not worth it, okay? The guilds, they let their, like the gank groups, they let their friends in to make all the profit. You're not their friend, I'm sorry. Now it is time to talk about combat fame credits and what those are. So if you open your Destiny board, you're going to see up here there is a tooltip for combat fame credits. It's currently at 0 because you're a new player. Once you achieve mastery level 100, you will start to accumulate combat fame credits. Once you have enough money, you can turn on auto respect to earn even more, even faster. And once you have specialization level 100, you will accumulate these even faster. And this is how you level up anything else in the game related to combat, not gathering, not crafting, only combat, by playing a specific item. So for instance, I'm having you level up the curse staff, right? So let's pretend you have level 100 warlock and you have level 100 curse staff. And you also have level 100 in, the leather armor, the stalker jacket, the mage cowl, the cloth helmet, etc., etc. What happens is all the fame that would normally go to these weapons and armor and the offhand will be converted to combat fame credits. So once you have everything at 100, 10,000 combat fame credits will be worth about 10,000 fame is worth 16,000 combat fame credits. Now, combat fame credits are not the same as fame. They are worth more than fame. And here is how that works. So when you have a combat fame credit, you can spend those to level up weapons, armor, helmets, boots, and offhands. And so if you put 1 combat fame credit into your weapon, then it counts as 2 fame. If you put it into your armor, it counts as 4 fame. If you put it into your helmet or boots, it's 8 fame. And in your offhands, it's worth over 50. It's crazy. So let me try to show you on the screen here what that kind of looks like. I'm going to put this in the corner here for now. So if I click on Curse Staff, now if I click on this button up here, it opens up this. This is your respec. You should really never spec out of a weapon unless it's terribly nerfed. You lose fame doing so. But anyway, to level from 13, what I have now, to 14, would cost me 26,509 combat fame credits, which is equivalent to 53,019 fame. Now, you may think that these are big numbers, but they're not, and let me show you why. So here is a video that I put out. Now, this is a year ago, and it's still relevant. It's not nerfed, it's not changed, it's not altered. 20 million fame per hour in the blue zone, okay? So, this is a still from the video, okay? I'm pulling like 5 to 10 mobs at a time. This one mob right here gave 19,319 fame, okay? That's being converted to combat fame credits. So this is kind of the rough math. This is not exact numbers, but essentially, this one mob, and I'm killing like 5 to 10 of these at a time per pull, per like every 10 seconds, okay? So 19,000 fame is converted to combat fame credits. This gives me about 32,000 combat fame credits. When I put this into a weapon, the weapon is getting 64,000 fame from a single kill. 1 kill. That means when I open my Destiny board and I killed 1 enemy, right? Then I want to go from level 13 to 14. Well, that's 53,000 fame, okay? So, hold on, my text is in the way. So, because that costs 53,000 fame, that means I killed 1 enemy. I killed 1 enemy, and I gained a weapon level. Now, because I can earn 20 million fame per hour, this is how much I would level in 1 hour, okay? So, this weapon, which I don't even have to use, because I can spend combat fame credits on it, would go from level 13 in 1 hour to level 85, about. Not exact, but about. So that's how crazy fast you can start leveling up when you use auto respec, combat fame credit conversions, and of course the satchel, premium, fame weeks. You could start stacking all of this stuff to level insanely, ridiculously, massively fast. It's so good. Here is an image still from that same video. Check this out. So I show you my starting combat fame credits. I show you my starting silver, because this does cost silver. This costs quite a bit of silver. And by the end of this video, you should have a good idea of how to generate this silver over time. This is not something you can do as a new player. This is something you'll do after your first month, maybe your second month. But you'll be able to level up anything and everything in the game at lickety-split, super duper quickly, much faster than anyone else who, go to the black zone and level it manually. You are a fool if you take a slow-ass weapon like a hammer and you go to the black zone and try to manually level that thing up. You are just dying, you're not clearing quickly, you're not playing the game in a time-efficient manner. So if you look at my numbers here, we have the ending combat fame credits, the amount of fame earned, the amount of fame earned per hour, how much silver that we spent in that hour, 7 million, or 14 million actually for hourly silver spent, 7 million for 30 minutes. Yes, it is pricey, it is expensive, but you will be able to afford this, and it will turn a 36-hour grind into a 2-hour grind, which time is money. Here is what you have learned so far in this video. You have learned how to fame farm, as in level up your weapons, armor, helmets, boots, etc. Risk-free, zero risk, no risk involved whatsoever. You have also learned how to make silver risk-free. Both of these methods are progressing your character's levels, your character's mastery, specialization, and this will make you even more efficient in the future, and it will future-proof your character, because the gear you are using, the gear you are doing, the methods that you're using will essentially allow you to always get money. You will never be broke. You will never be bankrupt. You will never have a bad beat where you risked it all in the black zone, died, and you're back to scraping up rocks while you're naked, begging people in town. You can now do any content you want in the game. You need silver? Well, you know how to gather. You have the gathering gear. You have the gathering experience, expertise. You know how it works. You need experience, you know how to fame farm, and I'm going to show you how to even further beyond fame farm without watching those other videos. I'm going to explain the gear progression you're going to do and the steps you'll take to secure your finances so that you can afford to fame farm for 2 hours instead of 36 hours. You can also, at this point, afford to do any content you want. You want to do full loot PvP? Go for it. It's a sandbox game. Play however you want. You can afford it. You will never be broke ever again because you've taken these steps to secure a foothold into this game. And you did all of this as a free-to-play player with no guild, completely solo without card swiping or buying into the game. Once you have 100 mastery in everything that you started this guide with, and you have the funds, you can progress to soloing static dungeons with the following gear. 8.3 Shadow Collar, Hellion Jacket, Scholar Cowl, Guardian Boots, and Thetford Cape. Now, you will need to fame up the Shadow Collar, Hellion Jacket, Scholar Cowl, but that you can already, with the 8.3 and the 100 Mastery, you can begin building your specialization in those items, which will only, by leveling the leather armors, it strengthens all of your leather armors. By leveling the Shadow Collar, it strengthens all of your cursed staffs, okay? Same with the Scholar Cowl, strengthening all of your cloth helmets. So, this is if you want to solo static dungeons and be just a complete boss. This lets you solo outpost bosses in faction warfare as well. You'll be using a pork roast, which is a lifesteal food, and preferably a bear mount to mass grab and pull enemies. Your gear progression for Tier 8 skinning is a lot cheaper, though. Tier 8 Avalon skinning knife being the big one, 1.8 million. The other one's 200k, 180k, 160k. So it's about, it's like 2.24 mil or so. I think I might have done the math a little wrong on that, but it's definitely under like 2.5 mil, easy. Now let's talk about passive income and growing your crafting career and choosing the right thing. I wish I knew this when I was a new player, but I went towards potion crafting, which got dumpstered many times. I tried to be a bow crafter. I did all the math on most crafting, and let me tell you, the best thing that a solo guildless player can invest in on this game is being a chef. Why a chef? It is cartel proof, okay? The cartel is a bunch of sweaty nerds in a Discord that have spreadsheeted the hell out of this game and min-maxed it. They have trillions of silver. They are already going to take over the EU servers when that launches. I'm telling you, being a chef and making food is the de facto best way to make the most amount of silver for the least amount of time and effort. The math is incredibly easy to do. You only need to do your calculations maybe once a month, and that only takes maybe like 15, 30, 45 minutes, depending on how fast you are at math calculations. It is the cheapest entire crafting tree to max out, being on average 111 million. You can do it in a single sitting if you're rich enough. You can card swipe this for, you know, like what, a couple $100, which is a lot of money. Okay, that's a lot of money. But the point is that being a chef, let me explain what a chef is, because you're probably brand new, you don't know what I'm talking about. So on the Destiny board, there are foods that you can craft. By scrolling down here, you have the sous chef, and then you scroll down more, and then you have the chef. So chef is cooking all the different foods that give you buffs in Albion Online. And there are different types of chefs. There's being the butcher, where you have to take animals that people grow. I just buy them from the market, and you butcher them, and then you have meat. Then you have ingredient chef. You make breads and butters and milk. You have the sandwich chef that makes, you know, sandwiches for buffs, stews, omelets, roasts, pies, salads, and soups. All different types of players use all different types of food. Everyone that runs a shop stall has to feed these shop stalls to keep them operational, and they all have a different type of food that is best for them to maximize their nutrition. Food is just, it's always going up in price. It's never bottomed out. It cannot be min-maxed. It cannot be botted. It cannot be controlled by a cartel like other crafting niches. And yes, there is a bonus production for food, but it does not shake the economy that much when it happens. It does not completely shut down cities or anything of the sort. Cooking and being a chef is from my calculations, I sat down for like a week straight, 12 hours a day, and mathed out everything in the game. And being a chef will take the least amount of your time and give you the most amount of silver. But at the same time, it is up there, at least in the top 5, if you want to devote 8 to 12 hours a day running shop stalls and transferring items between the cities. You can make 300 million a month doing that, no problemo. It's really easy to do, and the math isn't even that hard. It doesn't rely on refining anything other than, what's it called? Fish sauce, which is really easy to do. It's very simple. There's no bonuses to it. No multiple alt characters required to do it. A lot of the crafting professions, you need several alt characters all generating focus to even break even on crafting. Food, you almost profit on most things that you can cook. You will still need to do the math. You cannot just be like, oh, I want to be a roast beef sandwich chef and expect to make money. You might lose money if you just fire wildly into the night. You need to do the math like you would with any crafting profession, but chef is the absolute best way to go. So next up, another passive income, which is more of a multiplier to anything you do in the game. Do you like fame farming and killing mobs? There are mercenary laborers. Do you like growing crops? Well, sorry, there's no laborers for that. There's no laborers for being a chef either. But you can, if you like to gather, there is gathering and other crafting laborers that will just multiply your money. If you're a crafter, you have to use laborers or you lack money. If you are any kind of gatherer and you're not using laborers, you're losing silver by not having them. Now, this entire guide and everything that I've shown was shown all the numbers without laborers. But if you want to learn more about laborers and how housing works and how guild halls work, I'm going to save you a little bit of time real quick and tell you, if you don't plan to play Albion Online for more than 8 months, then don't even worry about housing and guild islands and laborers. They're a money sink, and they take a long time to break even, but once they do, they generate extra profit on everything you do in this game. Just about everything. So if you want to learn more about laborers, go to my YouTube channel right now, click on my name, go to this page where you have home, videos, shorts, etc. Click this little search button and type laborers. And what this is going to do is show you all of the guides that I have about laborers. Best laborers, most profit, easy silver and merc laborers, max out laborers, laborer profits, free silver forever, the best free silver, do this now. This will teach you everything on how laborers work. I have so many freaking videos. Journals are free silver. They are free silver. And again, you really, 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 really want to just learn everything you can about laborers, how furniture works, because you have to build houses, you have to build guild halls, you have to furnish the houses with beds and tables, you have to give them trophies so that you increase their happiness, so that you increase their yield, so they give you more resources. There's a whole lot to it. I'm not going to put this in the video because it's a whole separate topic. You'll have to search my channel. Just type laborers, type mercenaries, type journals. It's going to teach you everything there is to learn about that. By following this guide, in 1 to 3 months, you will have maximum tier gear for all your favorite activities. This means 8.4 gear, possibly awakened gear. You will make 2 to 5 million silver per day from being a chef if you have premium active. Without premium, you won't have focus. You're not going to make much without focus, okay? You'll be able to make 1 million per hour in a blue zone with skinning. This is so huge. This is insanely huge and viable and just good to have. you will have 700 out of 840 spec. This means level 100 in the entire tree for your warlock tree, your leather armor, your cloth helmet, and your plate boots. You should have this way sooner than 1 to 3 months, but it's something that you will have, and it's going to make you very powerful. You can start pushing up to the 120 specs if you want. I don't recommend that you ever do that. I think you would have more fun with the game if you just leveled things to 100 and just kind of forgot about it. You'll be able to farm and afford 20 million fame per hour to level anything up you want. Do you want to be a tank and you need mace spec? Do you want to be a dagger player? Well, now you have the means to level it up insanely super duper quickly, much faster than anyone else. If you're in a guild and they're like, "Well, we need dagger players for whatever reason," then you can be like, "Okay, boss, I'm gonna go farm 12 hours and I'll have the entire tree maxed out." 12 hours to max out 7 weapon specializations is insane. Also, you're going to have tons of money in reserve to afford re-gears for any kind of full loot PvP stuff you might want to do. Also, you'll have the specialization required for guilds, which, please don't join a guild. You really don't want to join a guild unless you're just a normie in life and you just mesh with these people. Are the Founders Packs worth buying? Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I haven't mentioned this in the video, I am the only content creator for this game that has not signed an agreement, that is not part of a partnership program. I am actually hated and despised by not only the community, but the company that made the game. So I am a free speaker, a free thinker, and I'm going to tell you that the Founders Packs are worth it if you can afford it and you have lots of money to blow, and here's why. So $200 for that Crystal Founders Pack is going to get you 204 million silver worth of premium time, and I have my calculator showing. It's going to get you 10 million silver in just pure gold, 257 million silver in skins. 1 year later, the skins won't be worth much at the start, but if you hold on to those skins, like some sort of NFT kind of thing, they do become worth money. Now, you get even more skins than we got in the East launch. You get a 5-day head start, you get 5 million in furniture that you can sell a year later. So your total silver value is 476 million silver for $200, which is 2.38 million silver per dollar. Now, if you RMT, which RMT is bannable, that means if you pay a guy, some random bot farmer, 50 cents, you can get 1 million silver. But by doing so, again, you're going to get banned. Don't do it. Don't ever freaking do it. It's not worth it. But if you spend $200, you'll make 400 million silver, and then you get banned, okay? But if you buy the gold from the cash shop, the official cash shop in the game, the best deal is you spend $100, you get 19,000 gold at 2.5 million per 500 gold. You're going to make 95 million silver or 950,000 silver per $1, which is less than half of the Founders Pack. So if you're a credit card whale and you're going to play this game for more than a year, absolutely buy that Crystal Founders Pack. And I say this with hatred in my heart because no other content creator loves me. They all hate my guts. The company hates my guts. The CEO hates my guts. The content creating program people, the game masters, they all freaking hate me. And I hate to help them make money and sell them product. But I cannot lie to you. I cannot tell you that it's a bad deal as much as I want to. It's not a bad deal. It is absolutely worth your money. If you're going to spend big money on this game, I mean, I would honestly buy it if people liked me and I wasn't muted in this game. I would honestly pay this amount of money, but nope, I'm too stubborn. I refuse to give any game company my money unless they shout me out, they love me, they treat me with respect, and like they treat the other content creators. So why am I hated as a creator on Albion Online? So I'm a troll, simple as. People like to take pixels a little too seriously, and I just love it. I've ruined monopolies on this game. I've called out the fakers, I've shunned guilds. This makes a lot of enemies. And I've been blamed for why the majority of the game's population refused to do full loot PvP. As a matter of fact, and I'm not pulling this number out of my butt, this is an official number from an SBI employee, that is Sandbox Interactive, not Sweet Baby Inc., and that is that 92% of players do not ever go to a full loot zone ever. I am the only content creator that is not official. I have not signed an NDA. I have not signed any agreements. I do not get any giveaway codes. The company does not like me. I've even tried. I've tried. I'm like, hey, it's been 4 years. Can I join the partner program? And they're like, nope, sorry, even though I get quadruple the views of the next biggest creator. It boggles my mind, but I am not legally bound to suck their toes and bend the knee and tell you to buy the Founders Pack and to tell you about all the new things coming to the game and to talk positively about the game. No, no, no. But if they do it, if they talk negatively about the game, they get fined $3,000. I like my freedom. But I tried to be part of their team. They don't want me. I say what I want. I say anything I want, when I want, and how I want. This angers Redditors. Oh boy, and I tormented Reddit and Discord for years, burning every bridge I could with everybody. Which, to me, it's just a video game, who cares? I'm not gonna, lie about things, right? Almost all of the Twitch and YouTuber creators are a clique. That is a group of people with a like-minded thing going on. They all work in tandem to try to vilify me as much as they can, so I gotta do my part and play the villain. I tried not being the villain, and they cannibalized each other for a while, but when I went away to play other games, guess what started happening? They started spinning up fake Discord chats, fake images, and all sorts of drama that they could to pull me back in, and here I am to play my part. So the company itself, Sandbox Interactive, they hate my guts. They hate the truth that I tell in my videos, the methods that I share, I've caused them to patch so many bugs and glitches and gameplay mechanics. It's a lot of work on their shoulders. And they ban people on their official streams that say my name. They also permanently muted me for just crap posting, not even saying anything bad, just stupid preschool insults, like calling someone a hot dog, for instance, got me like a 1 month mute or something crazy like that. It's insane, right? Because they just don't like me. They block me for all of their social medias. I cannot talk to them at all on anything except maybe Twitter? If I am on an official stream, if my main character, my Soul Benji character, is on an official stream, randomly on screen, everyone freaks out in the chat and starts shouting. And what happens is they will move their camera away from me to avoid me getting screen time. They don't like attention being diverted by their boring shoutcasters talking about who gives a crap about the Black Zone whenever I'm on screen. Now, I am the most loved and watched creator. I have the most watch time. Even the Twitch streamers that have AFK view bots who are just there to get skin codes, I even beat them on watch time. Isn't that funny? I am the most organic of creators. I have, a good comment to view ratio. What's fun with other creators is that they'll put out a big video. It gets shared around Discord, sure. Gets like 10, 11,000 views per video. And then their video dies. It gets no organic views. Their videos just die after a week. My videos continue to be viewed 2 years later. So you'll look at my channel, you'll see that my videos have 3K views, 5K views, 10K views, whatever. And then you check back a year later, those same videos will have like 20, 40, 50K views. They will continuously get views. And if you check my views per month, and I'm not trying to gloat here or anything, I get quadruple the monthly view count than those other channels, okay? I've also put out more videos more consistently for longer than anyone else. If you use any kind of program that scans YouTube to see who the top creators are, I'm usually up there. But sometimes I take a break from the game and someone else sneaks on up. But I am literally the most loved creator, the most watched creator. This makes the smaller channels insanely jealous with envy. They hate me for just simply being better at YouTube, simple as. I am also one of the richest players in the entire game, bar none, without any aid from guilds or group play. Now, for 2 months I did try out the guild thing just to prove that it sucks. All of my actual haters never have actually interacted with me. They've never actually played with me. They have never shared a Discord server with me. They are just afraid of upsetting the company. They are afraid of upsetting their friends and their clique. I literally had one guy that kind of was my friend for 2 years, and then someone from the rival clique paid him 1 billion in-game silver to betray me. Fun times, fun times. It's Video Game Pixels, who gives a crap, right? Also, I have 4chan Mannerisms, as it's been my main website that I've been a part of since 2004, 2005? I forget exactly when, but I was there on day 1, October 1st, I tell you what, and they do not politically like this. They think that I am some sort of alt-right villain that they have painted in their brains and they want me to go away by any means necessary, which includes faking Discord chats, faking all sorts of in-game screenshots with characters named Swole Benji but with L's instead of I's, you name it. They have tried every little dastardly trick to try to get me to go away. They've threatened my real life, they have doxed me, swatted me, they have mailed me gross things in the mail. I have so many haters, and I think it's a blast yanking their chains. Now, if you want to help me troll, there's something you can do, and it does involve real money. All you gotta do is buy a super chat. Just click the button right below this video to leave a thanks. It will highlight your comment, and if enough of you guys donate, you know, like 10 bucks, 5 bucks, 20 bucks, 50 bucks, you can go up to 500, but I don't really expect anyone to do that. It would be crazy if y'all did. But by doing so, if we look at the comment section and it's all highlighted with money donations, do you know how mad the other creators are going to get? I really hope one day that I can just, you know, do that, and they will seethe and just go crazy, and, you know, they'll just double down with their little cancellation efforts, and I will just laugh, and you will laugh. We'll all have a good time. But, you know, only donate if you are very rich and wealthy in real life, of course. By the way, if you're looking for an honest review of this game, almost all of them are either paid by Sandbox Interactive, Stillfront, the company that bought Sandbox Interactive, or they are reviews made by people in the partnership program for this game. They are not legitimate reviews at all. You cannot trust someone that is being paid to make a review for a product, even though they may give it a fair review or a not quite stellar review. For the most honest possible and entertaining and funny review that has ever been made for this game ever in the entire history, I need to show you on screen right now. You need to check out this video here. Now, this is made by Rose, who has 14.7k subscribers. His title is Becoming a Menace in Albion Online. Now, this video is the only honest and fair review. If you like creators like Seth Tzine or General Sam, this guy's humor and editing is god tier. It is the best of the best humor and editing that you're going to get in a review, but it's also the most fair and the most honest review, and the only reason it didn't get more views is because it paints me in a positive light, and I'm not shouting it out because I'm in his video or anything of the sort. I'm shouting it out because it is brutal, truthful honesty, and I stand for that more than I stand for some guy with 300,000 subscribers that got paid $10,000 by the company, allegedly, that put out a review because he was incentivized with money. That is not a review. That is not something you should ever pay for. I mean, look at this thumbnail. It's got the salt shaker. It's got, like, the woman yelling, the guy crying. It's all good stuff here. You definitely want to check this out. Now, also, if there's anything else in this game that you have a question about, feel free to leave a comment right now. I read every single comment. I know I have, like, 128,000 subscribers at the moment. I have no life, I have no family, no friends. I honestly have no friends, I have no phone, okay? I'm being real with you. I read every comment, and if it has not been answered in this video and it's a good question, then I'll answer it. But for everyone else that maybe you don't want to ask a question or you feel awkward, then go to my channel, alright? Go to my channel and click the search button, and anything in this game that you have a question about, type in a keyword. So what about like gathering? You can type in gathering, and I have endless videos about gathering, so many. Maybe you want to learn about corrupted dungeons. That's fine, that's a thing. And I have so many videos about corrupted dungeons, and by the way, I'm the world record holder, so someone beat that time. 2 minutes 50 seconds to clear a Slayer Corrupted. Let's see you do better. There's still room to improve that time. Anyway, another thing too, anything you can think of. What about gardening? This might pull up some other games, so you'll have to scroll past those other games. Well, yeah, there we go. So crop profits revealed the crop meta. Don't you want to view that one? Anyway, any kind of keyword you can think of, you can type Spirit Hunter. Let's see if I've made a Spirit Hunter video. The top spear lists. You know, there's like just any weapon you want. Battle Axe? Let's see, what about Battle Axe, huh? Here's the Mean Shock Battle Axe PvP build. There you go. And, you know, that's a real good one. That's probably the best Battle Axe build you're ever going to see. So, absolutely anything you can think of, type it into the search. I have 733 Albion videos as of this recording, and I'm probably going to be up to 800 by the time the European server comes out, by the time you watch this. So please, 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 use the search function. Would I recommend Albion Online to anyone? So here's the thing. Albion Online is that one game that you can play if you have nothing else to play. which happens a lot these days. Games just suck. Games just die in a month. They get forgotten, no one plays them, the player counts drop. Albion Online is that weird game that just survives. It's like the cockroach in the nuclear war. But it's free, and so a lot of people play it. If you have sadism, like I honestly have sadism, and I really enjoy making others suffer. So this is a great game for that. I can go out with my maximum tier gear and just dunk on people, put them in 3-minute timeouts, and it just makes me smile. If you like being overpowered versus noobs, this is a great game. If you have a lot of friends, then you can absolutely overpower people in sheer numbers. If you have 10 friends, you and your 10 friends will have a blast playing this game, because if you catch me outside, that's a meme, okay, an old meme, then I can't do anything. There's 10 of you. You can just kill me and take all my stuff, and it's going to be fun for you. If you enjoy the full loot PvP, that's another thing. I mean, if you really, really enjoy full loot PvP, it's one of the better full loot PvP games out there, and because it's free, well, what else are you going to play? Like Tarkov or something? I don't think so. Too many cheaters, okay? This game has its problem with cheaters, too. So, yeah, I would recommend it for only those reasons. Not for classical MMORPGs, or PvE, or questing, or storytelling. None of that. Or graphics, or gameplay. Just for oddball reasons, really. So, what to do next, now that we've gotten all the other stuff out of the way? Well, it's time to level your other gathering professions. You can start a crafting alt if you want, because you can only earn 30,000 focus every 3 days. You're going to need multiple characters, eventually multiple accounts, if you have the money really rolling in. Me personally, I have 100 characters, 100 islands, that I have more than that actually, that I use for farmland, laborers, all that kind of fun stuff. And you can too if you want to just continually make wealth generation. You can fame up anything and everything that you want. If you want to be a tank, a healer, some sort of DPS, a one-shot build, all of these things you are absolutely free to do. And I know that I said we would talk about tracking. Tracking is a full loot activity where you buy or craft a tracking kit, which I can't spell kit apparently. I still can't spell kit. There we go, tracking kit. You start at tier 3, you can eventually unlock tier 4 through tier 8. You use the kit, it'll put a big circle on your map, and this only works in the red and black zones. It's not very profitable, the enemies are highly dangerous, and it's used to drop ingredients for certain potions and ingredients to craft the shapeshifter weapons, which is the last new weapon line that the game introduced. The shapeshifter weapons are kind of niche, and for group play, they're kind of a jack-of-all-trades weapon line. They aren't really the best at anything they do, but they're pretty good at most things. So that might be something you might be interested in doing. You can, again, search my channel if you want to learn more. It's not really that profitable. It's highly dangerous. It's very tedious. And without friends, you really should just avoid it at all costs, honestly. With all of that said, it takes an insane amount of work to make these videos and put out all of this information. And I know the majority of people that play this game can barely afford things, myself included. But if you want to support me, here's how to do it. On any of my videos, you can click the join button to become a channel member. You can click the thanks button to send me donations through YouTube. You can click the description here and scroll down. There is a donation link to Streamlabs. Again, I can't touch that money for 8 months, and the YouTube money I can't touch until the end of the next month. But any and all donations are highly appreciated, and thank you so much for watching. The last things that I can do to ask you to help me out are to leave a comment, leave a like. This really helps in the algorithm. And again, please leave a comment that's something about the video, the title, something about the game. Don't just put a heart or an emoji or a smiley face or say okay. Please leave a comment talking about the subject matter. Please, 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 please. And also, you know, if you can, all right, there's a video on the right side of your screen that you should absolutely click, recommended just for you by Google. And if you don't click that video, then you're going to drink some very sour milk one day. And if you don't drink milk, then it'll be something else that went bad but looks completely normal.